Poltergeist, apparitions, werewolves, vampires, witches, gremlins, ghoulies, demons, goblins, ogres, or swamp creatures. He's a skeptical robot that doesn't believe in ghosts. Poltergeist, apparitions, werewolves, vampires, witches, gremlins, ghoulies, demons, goblins, ogres, or swamp creatures. Ogres are skeptical robot that doesn't believe in ghosts. Poltergeist, apparitions, werewolves, vampires, witches, gremlins, ghoulies, demons, goblins, ogres, or swamp creatures. Ogres, and swamp creatures.
Hello, welcome to Skeptical Robot, a show dedicated to logic and reason. And as usual, please also welcome my co-host, Ekul Pineapple.
Hello, buddy. How's it going?
And doing well. And unfortunately, Mr. Corndiff could not make it today. Our best wishes out to Mr. Corndiff. He is a
R.I.P..
little sick today.
Mhm.
But in his place, we have JT. How you
Hello,
doing, JT?
sorry, I'm
Who?
doing all right. Sorry, I'm not Corndiff, and but I'm here and I'm interested.
You know what? If we would have planned this a little better, we would have given you Corndiff's filter and just like told people you were Corndiff, and just had you on the whole show like that.
That
I
would have
would
been
have liked
terrible.
that.
So before we get started, how's everyone's week? How y'all doing?
Doing all right. Doing all right. What do you
Yeah.
got tomorrow? The Bills. Bills tomorrow.
Are you a Bill? I assume you're a Bills fan.
I'm not a KC fan. I'll say that.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Oh, a lot of static on someone's mic, apparently.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
It is not coming through on the live feed. It is only on Eccles' microphone.
Hamhead said it in chat, is what I'm saying, pal.
I don't hear it. I'm
It's
listening to
insane.
the live
It's
feed.
almost like you could believe me or something, but never mind.
Man. It says, oh, this is on one of y'all's mic. Could be yours.
Well, it wasn't because he muted and it went away.
I don't hear it. I'm listening to the live feed. I don't hear it. Tell
All
us
right,
who it's coming from, Hamhead. But before we get started, also, Hamhead gifted 10 Luigi Greenberg memberships. Thank you so much. Hamhead is just so awesome. Man, I'm just so grateful, so thankful. And let's see here who got some of those. Gummy Chainsaw gifted a membership by Hamhead. JT got one. Yeah, and he's here. Yeah,
Oh, look at that.
you look at that. Welsh Rob got one. McGoose. OG Mumbling Nick got one. Clearwater Chad slowly taking over the Dabbleverse. Gene 13, King of All Dicks, R. Kona, and Walker. Thank you, Hamhead. It's so incredibly great, generous of you. We appreciate it. Always appreciate it. If you would please, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Let's go. Let's see. So today's topic is going to be just a little bit different than what we're used to doing. With this news being like so prevalent in the media right now, thought it might be a good idea to tackle this, and we're going to be talking about JFK conspiracy theories.
Who?
This is our first non-paranormal topic. I'm sorry, were one of you about to say something?
No, I was just asking who JFK is.
Oh, we're going to get into it. You're going to get more knowledge than you could possibly ever want. But no, we're really just kind of thinking this would be a good topic to talk about. And, spoiler alert, pretty skeptical about it. I am really not someone who gravitates toward any kind of conspiracy theory. I tend to think that it's pretty logical to conclude that it's hard to get a lot of people to keep a secret. Just anyway. Wait, what's this? Ekul, that might be your mic.
Well, we know for a fact it isn't mine.
We don't know that for a fact.
He muted himself when it stopped.
So, Ekul, I'm not kidding. I think that is your mic.
No, because he heard me do the click of the mouse every time I muted and unmuted myself. That's how he figured that out.
But
I'm not saying there's a conspiracy theory happening right
Last
now,
15
but
seconds I was muted, by the way, and it kept going on. But yeah, okay.
it's something weird though. All right, so
he really hates me, doesn't he?
I love you, JT. I love you.
Yes,
I think that's it. I think that's what's going on.
My volume, and now your volume is bad, and I think it's intentional.
he sabotaged it for you, JT. Anyway,
You know, it was like 10 minutes ago, I got the message saying, hey, you want to come on? And so I was like, all right, cool. I'll hop on and help out. And since I got here, it's always been bitch. I'm just trying to help out, man.
I agree. He is. You want to stay JT and I'll kick Ekul out? How's this? Okay.
Sounds fair.
All right, so let's get into it, folks. So we have a British person here with us. So, Ekul, I don't expect you to know a lot about the background of this
You
story.
think JFK is pretty big, not a character, but a big topic. I'm pretty sure people in wherever Eccles from heard of JFK.
Well, I'm sure you've heard of it.
Yeah,
I don't expect to know the details, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's give just a little bit of context. I think we all know the basic story. I'm not going to waste too much time on that. But yeah, just quick overview is President Kennedy was a guy who ran America and was assassinated in Dallas on November 22nd, 1963. There was a guy named Lee Harvey Oswald who was accused of killing him, and Lee Harvey Oswald ran away, ran to a theater, killed a cop, got arrested. 2 days later, he was killed by a guy named Jack Ruby. So let's talk a little bit about, this is one of the most interesting things about the JFK assassination conspiracy is that there are so many conspiracy theories. But I would actually think that one interesting thing to talk about is why. Why are there so many conspiracy theories? And ultimately, the issue is that the public just wasn't satisfied with the facts, with the story that they got from the government, from the media, because there were so many unresolved issues because Oswald didn't stand trial for what he did. And it was a weird time. There was a war going on. And JFK made a lot of enemies. He fired a lot of people in his cabinet and demoted a lot of people, and specifically targeted the CIA because he didn't like the way that they were running things. And so, naturally, you have all these unanswered questions, and people wanted to resort to something a little more fantastic of an explanation than a lone gunman. Then you throw in the fact that the leader of the FBI was trying to rush through the, whatever you want to call it, the investigation. They assigned the Warren Commission. The Warren Commission had some enemies that JFK had made on it to do this investigation, and they come to this conclusion in a really rather short time. And you just throw in all these other factors, and people just weren't satisfied. And they thought that maybe the government was hiding something. So ultimately, now we're at a point where a lot of people in the world think that the government was hiding something. because maybe they were. They did rush through a lot of things, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the conclusion they came to was wrong. People just didn't like it.
Can I ask
So,
you something?
yes, please. I'm tired of
Cool.
talking.
Good. So, with regards to conspiracy theories about stuff like this, was this one of the first kind of like popular ones in regards to like what the government did with yourselves?
I think so. I think that's pretty safe to say, in my opinion, anyway.
Mm,
It was
Um,
like this one in a moon landing.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So,
Um,
with the moon landing, was that something that did that was that always an issue, or was that something that popped up, like in the 90s onwards? Because
so interesting thing is that as far as JFK, I couldn't say anything about the moon landing, but as far as JFK, I think that people really started to get suspicious pretty quick after within a couple of years, because that's when the Warren Commission published their report that there was a lone gunman. But that actually does kind of fall into what we're going to be talking about today.
mhm.
What we're going to be talking about today is one specific conspiracy theory that came out 2 years after the assassination.
Okay.
All right. And I'm going to give you a quick overview of this before we start to watch some video on it and talk about it. And this is going to get a little weird.
Sorry, just before you crack on, apologies. Was there a comedian who played the tape of the assassination on like a live chat show or something? I swear I remember seeing something like that.
Bill Hicks, maybe.
Yeah. Well,
Bill
I,
Hicks back in like the late '80s and '90s, he did like a big a bit about the Zapruder film, and he did the
Hmm.
whole back into the left thing. And
right.
Oh. You know something I
are you
think you might.
trying? Are you thinking
Yeah.
of a comedian from back in the '60s?
Potentially, yeah, and it was quite a big
Oh,
deal. Like,
no, I don't know about that.
okay, maybe I'm getting
Lenny
it.
Bruce. Lenny Bruce could be the only one I'm
Maybe
thinking of.
that's actually came to my mind thinking of maybe as a possibility, but I don't know. I mean, and I'm not saying that there's a yes or no answer to your question. I'm
Mm,
just saying I just don't know.
okay.
Um, but here we
Yeah,
go.
I meant a talk show. Yeah, thank you, Rochi, for translating.
Oh,
Dick Gregory, apparently, Hammer.
okay.
But
All right.
is that
There you
someone
go.
that you guys know? Dick Gregory?
No,
No.
I don't know who that
Okay. All right,
is.
cool. All right, cool.
All right. So
Must be like a Britain thing or something.
I don't think so, mate.
must have been. So have either
I
of
don't know.
you seen? I'm talking.
No, he's just mad. He thinks I seriously think he hates me.
I think you're right.
My-
All right. So, have either of you seen the movie JFK from 1991? It's okay if the
No,
answer is no. Okay.
no.
All right. So,
I
this
I
movie
did. If anyone cares.
did. Do you remember anything about it from when you saw it?
Yeah, it was. It's like I don't know. It's one of my favorite movies. Well, not my
Okay. Cool.
favorite movie,
Don't
but
say anything yet, though. Don't
I
say anything
know.
yet. Okay. I just want to make sure. All right. So here's what's interesting is that movie came out in 1981, but it's based on a book written by a guy named Jim Garrison. And Jim Garrison was the district attorney for New Orleans, Louisiana, uh, during the assassination and for several years after. The book is called. The book that he wrote was called "On the Trail of the Assassins." Now, Jim Garrison was the prosecutor in the one and only case that was brought against someone relating to the JFK assassination. There was only one person that was ever charged with some kind of conspiracy or involvement with JFK because Lee Harvey Oswald got murdered. So his theory, and I am being serious, I am being 100% serious in my description, was that a rogue group of homosexual former CIA agents conspired with the Dallas Police Department and the Dallas mayor to kill Kennedy in an effort to prolong the Cold War.
Mm,
But for what reason is anybody's guess. There's going to be reasons. But that was his theory, and I am being completely honest. So, based on what you've heard so far, Ekul, what do you think of this conspiracy theory?
I wouldn't call it a conspiracy. It seems pretty much founded in logic, right?
Okay, there we go.
We
Yeah,
all
all
know,
right. Good night,
we all know
everybody.
the gay guys did it.
Yeah. So, the first conspiracy theory, or I should say, the first conspiracy theory that was given basically a public audience was based in homophobia, that it was a thrill kill, killing amongst homosexuals who at the time were considered to be mentally deficient, or at least, having mental health issues.
Makes sense.
Who
Yeah.
came up with this? Who came up with this theory again?
Jim Garrison. All right.
That was
So
that was his actual theory.
that was the theory, and we're going to talk. I'm going to play some video here that talks about how it got developed, where it came from, and what happened to it, or where it went. But also, wait, why are you asking that? This is the basis of the movie JFK. They all met at a gay.
Well, I know you're talking about the guy. You're talking about the guy who played Tommy Lee Jones.
No, all of them, all of the people involved.
Well, yeah, I knew they were all gay, but I didn't think they did it just because they were gay. I mean, that's just it just happens that they were.
They were gay. They were gay rogue CIA sleeper agents.
You could just say they were CIA secret agents.
No,
or CIA.
No, the gay part is actually a very important part of the story.
Okay, I didn't realize that. I always thought that hey, what happens in the bedroom stays in the bedroom. But I guess not.
well, it was a different time. Yeah. So no, the gay part is actually a big part of the story. So anyway, moving on. So he believed that Lee Harvey Oswald was indeed involved, and might have even been the gunman.
Was Lee gay too?
A gunman, according to Garrison, yes.
But he was married.
But he was. Hey man, ask him.
All right, I'm just saying. Okay.
No, I'm kidding. But he believed that Harvey Oswald was involved, but he doesn't believe that he was the mastermind of the conspiracy. And so he actually goes on this campaign to try to prosecute what he believes to be the mastermind of this gay cabal.
Do you think when they came up with this theory, or when they came up with this plot, the rogue CIA guys, were they all sitting around naked thinking of this, or were they clothed?
Well, if you remember in the movie JFK, they're all dressed like 17th century. They're all dressed like 17th century French aristocrats. Remember?
Yeah, it was. Now I'm maybe that part of the movie I kind of blocked out.
And then all the butt sex. Don't you remember that part?
Come on, JT. It's your favorite movie. Don't you remember any of this?
No, I think I just blocked it all out.
There's a scene where they're interviewing Kevin Bacon, and Kevin Bacon talks about them all gang raping him.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway.
Now I gotta watch this again. So now it's under a whole new light. Lord.
We get it, JT. You're not gay. We get it.
No, I had no idea the whole case was such a big...
We get it.
Okay. All right, whatever.
Not gay. No homo.
Luigi, sorry to interrupt all this gay talk, but there are two gifted chats, and I don't think they pop up on EVMux because EVMux is terrible. One from Hamhead near the top, and one from Rochi. Just to let you know, just in case.
Oh, these are
maybe that static is from EVMux then.
Yeah, that's what I think. You're right, JT.
Yeah, so it's not me.
No, it's not him. It's EVMux.
I do apologize. They're not color coded, but they're not. Their membership.
You don't have to explain.
Chats.
It's fine.
But shit, I gotta find them. Let's see. Kochi says. What does he say?
I love Tukey. I love Cardiff. JT's cool. That's pretty much the gist of it.
Kochi celebrates 1 month membership. Why doesn't the fruit like Club Soda JT? Hi, JT.
Yeah.
Hi, Mario's brother. Hi, Kochi. How are you, buddy? Let's see here. You want to answer that?
Sure.
You could save that theory for another show, I guess.
No, I can let you know. I just haven't forgiven you for what you did to Cardiff's YouTube channel, to be honest. I know I should get over it, but it's still just hanging heavy.
There's a whole conspiracy theory behind that, but I'm not going to get into it. It wasn't my fault. Okay,
I assume so.
Yeah, no, sure.
Hamhead celebrates 4 months of membership. Oswald, the Russians, the Cubans, the mob, CIA, the limo driver, whoever shot him. Let's just agree the skull mist was cinematically beautiful. The what? The skull mist?
When he got shot in the head.
The skull. I got it. He is right. that is
Hamhead said he should be on this show because he knows more than JT about it, and I agree. We should have Hamhead.
All right, so
I agree too.
So back to gay rogue CIA agents. So Garrison believed that a guy named Clay Shaw was the mastermind.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Okay, let's just call him Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, because that's who I picture. I don't know what the guy really looks like.
We're gonna see him. So
okay.
So he allegedly did some of Garrison. I'm sorry. So he prosecutes Clay Shaw in the belief that he's a mastermind of the assassination. But what's amazing about this is that there's some overlap here with the things that we typically talk about when it comes to believing something, prison of belief, and wanting to believe. Garrison's case is immediately debunked and falls apart at the get-go, but he doesn't let go. He continues because he doesn't want to be proven wrong in his prosecution, so he does some very underhanded and illegal things to prosecute Clay Shaw. Amazingly bad things. And so this is, like we talked about, the first conspiracy theory to really gain some attention. So I guess before we get started with discussing it, I do kind of want to say that about the overlap with this content, the stuff that we discussed regarding the paranormal. When it comes to an idea that sounds like outside of the bounds of reality, there are some people that just want to believe that it's true, like no matter all the evidence to the contrary. And that's what we're going to see here with this. So anyway, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're new here, we invite you to join the chat, have some fun, enjoy laughing at this. This one's going to be a weird one because there's not too many funny moments in this like we tend to, so I'm going to have to definitely drop some fart sounds to Ekul's dismay.
Essential.
It is very essential. So let's get started, folks. Are we ready?
Let's go. Let's do it, pal.
All right, here we go. Dang Lizard, thank you for the 2 caterpillar dollars.
€2. Come on.
The background noise might summon Peter Sky.
Gotta be careful with that.
All right.
Well, that's just another viewer then.
To his supporters, Jim Garrison of New Orleans was the crusader who uncovered the truth behind the assassination of John Kennedy. To his critics, he was a self-promoter who destroyed the innocent in pursuit of headlines. Garrison's investigation relied on offbeat witnesses, bizarre tales, and charges of a vast conspiracy. Garrison was glorified in the Oliver Stone film JFK in 1991. Since then, author Patricia Lambert has combed through court documents and government files. Our program is based on her book, False Witness, a scathing indictment of Jim Garrison and his tactics.
Okay, so what we're watching here, just to give a little bit of background, is actually something the History Channel put together. But yes, this is all in an effort to discredit the conspiracy theories of the movie JFK. A book got written pointing out all of the ridiculous things that were claimed in the movie JFK and Jim Garrison's book that he wrote. This is where we're going to take it from here. So
cool.
In 1963, Did you ever have occasion to
JT, that is Tommy Lee Jones.
meet or know Lee Harvey Oswald? Did you ever have occasion to meet or know David W. Ferry?
I did not.
You've heard of the name Clay Bertrand?
I have.
Do you know any such person?
I do not.
Can you state whether or not you are Clay Bertrand?
I am not living.
Do you have any knowledge of a plot to assassinate President Kennedy?
None whatsoever.
Clay L. Shaw, the only individual ever to stand trial for the assassination of President Kennedy, today is best known as the villain of the movie JFK, director Oliver Stone's fictional account of the assassination, which he based in part on Jim Garrison's memoir. In the minds of millions, Clay Shaw is, as Tommy Lee Jones portrayed him, a sinister homosexual who plotted to kill the president and was unmasked by New Orleans District Attorney.
Any of this sound familiar, JT, if JFK is your favorite movie?
Come on,
They call him a sinister homosexual.
The worst kind of
I
homosexual.
want to know what makes somebody a sinister
As if
homosexual.
you don't know.
No.
Jim Garrison, played by Kevin Costner. Garrison is Stone's battling hero who solved the crime of the century and put Clay Shaw on trial for it. But in real life, after a 40-day trial in 1969, it was clear that Garrison had solved nothing, and the jury took only 54 minutes to acquit Clay Shaw. Now, we will learn why the New York Times called Garrison's prosecution of Shaw one of the most disgraceful chapters in the history of American jurisprudence.
Now, I do want to point out that, and since this is JT's favorite movie, he'll remember, even though he doesn't remember, any of the gay aspects of the movie, that they do paint Jim Garrison as a hero pursuing what he is calling the truth and what he is calling, a grand conspiracy, and that he's like on to something. But in reality, so many legal correspondents and legal authors said, no, he is completely absurd and ridiculous in what he was pursuing. This is nonsense.
Well, what are we going to get to the evidence Garrison had for his claim?
No, we're just going to talk about it and talk about sinister gay people. I didn't even think about that.
Oh, I see, and you hate me now too. Everyone hates me on this show.
Contagious. It's contagious, isn't it?
Come on. This is what I get when I get on Tuki's show. Come on.
In the 1960s,
I mean, when someone goes on Tuki's show.
the assassination of President Kennedy was followed by a
everybody knows who you are.
I know. The joke is me denying it.
of his death, the ongoing struggle for civil rights, and the movement against the Vietnam War. And the United States was ripped apart. Late in the 60s, a powerful politician appeared in the midst of that emotional chaos. His city was New Orleans, and its Mardi Gras, honky-tonk, anything-goes sophistication fit his extravagant style to a T. He was amusing, outrageous, unpredictable, sometimes electrifying. In a town where politicians are expected to be entertaining, he was like a Broadway star.
Did he have a lawyer in with him tonight?
Yes.
On March 1st, 1967, Jim Garrison, the district attorney of New Orleans, grabs the world spotlight by arresting Clay Shaw, the 53-year-old retired director of the International Trade Mart, for his alleged involvement in the assassination of President Kennedy. This stuns the local citizenry, for Shaw is a staunch supporter of President Kennedy and a prominent popular figure in New Orleans. What none of them understand at the time is the strange series of events that led up to Shaw's arrest. 26 years later, after Oliver Stone's film was released, writer Patricia Lambert, who had followed Garrison's investigation in the 60s, set out to discover the truth about that investigation. Her effort would span 5 years, include thousands of pages of documents and interviews with many of the principals involved. From a batch of 1963 FBI and Secret Service reports, she discovered how two offbeat characters in New Orleans, named Jack Martin and Dean Andrews, each left behind a stepping stone that Garrison used 3 years later to reach Clay Shaw.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it here for just a second and say that this is really trying to summarize what you're about to see. So it's really just trying to kind of set the stage so that we kind of remember these characters. There's a lot of characters involved, so I do just kind of want to prep everyone.
Are they all gay or?
Every single one of them. Jim
Got ya.
Garrison was a self-hating gay man, a
Nice.
self-hating, sinister gay.
Is that why it's your favorite movie, JT?
He doesn't remember any of the gay stuff.
Oh, true.
Even the three guys dressed up as French aristocrats fucking each other in the ass.
I seriously don't remember that part. I just remember the whole, like, I was into the whole JFK thing and this conspiracy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The gay stuff, I never even gave a second thought to. And I'm like, I'm looking at this in a whole new way now. This is
Okay.
kinda,
So let me like set the stage about the movie. If anyone needs to like relate characters to what we're about to see in the JFK movie, the gay characters were Tommy Lee Jones, Joe Pesci, Gary Oldman, and Kevin.
Gary, that was Oswald.
Yes.
So you're just calling? Oh, yeah, because Oswald was there. Okay.
No, I'm saying Garrison called him gay. So,
but wasn't Oswald like hanging out with these dudes?
Yes, that's the theory. Is that
like hanging out a little too close?
That there was like literally the movie JFK does kind of deviate a little bit from the real story, but the movie JFK suggests that they came up with this plot at like a big gay orgy. So yeah. OG Mumbly Nick makes a point. Okay, Gary Oldman was never shown as gay in the movie. That's true, but no
he did
one
suck a dick. So,
no one was really shown as gay, but he did attend the orgy. So we are left.
Wait, hang on a second, Luigi. You said there was 3 guys fucking each other in the arms.
I was joking about the fucking. There's no fucking in the. There's no fucking in the movie whatsoever.
It's odd that
never mind.
It'll be very odd for a straight guy to show up to a gay orgy.
That's my point.
That's all I'm saying.
So
allegedly.
And then also show up with like notebook and paper. Like, hey, were we going to talk about killing someone? Oh, I see you're busy.
maybe that's why they picked Oswald, because they're like, this guy's so fucking stupid. He doesn't realize what's really going on here. That he could be the guy to kill JFK. So now I'm thinking Garrison was right now.
I think you might be on to something. Look at this dummy. He showed up to our gay orgy. He's not even gay. He's just here for the snack.
Like do you think anyone showed up to, like P. Diddy's house with a paper and pad? In a pad? Like, come on now. They saw this guy coming a mile away, and they're like, I know what we're going to do.
We need
this
Patsy.
JFK thing. Yup. Yeah, don't.
All right.
And who we know? Okay.
Wait, just hold on. Director's cut shows full penetration.
Okay, I'm back in.
I think you're right. I think you are correct. All right, Here we go. There were Cubans in full military at these orgies too in the movie. That is true. That is true. Yes.
Maybe they were cosplaying.
All right, here we go. No, Ekul, there's no actual like sex in the movie, but there's a lot of hinting and suggesting about
and construct a solution to the crime of the century, which Garrison thought would catapult him into national office. It all began the day the president was shot.
Yay!
In New Orleans on the night of the assassination, Jack Martin, a 48-year-old former mental patient, courthouse hanger-on, and tipster,
wait.
Yes.
Was he referred to as a former mental patient? I know they might be being literal, as in he used to be a patient in a mental hospital, but
maybe he just had like a bad day.
If you call someone a mental patient, you're essentially saying you're absolutely crazy, and it's not something you can retire from.
Yeah, but being a former mental patient means you beat it.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Law enforcement starts a 3-day drinking binge.
It was a kind of a tall, cadaverous, very thin guy with an enormous booming voice, and he would stand at the end of the bar and
also, just for those who are fans of the movie JFK and JT, the character that he's talking about was played by Jack Lemmon. All right.
In the beginning of it.
What's that?
It was at the very beginning of it.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. That is Jack Lemmon's character. All right.
Exhort
make those
people about conspiracies and so forth. And basically, everybody either told him to shut up or just ignored him, So he was seen as what he was, a nut.
Martin is at home watching television news accounts of the assassination when he begins making one telephone call after another, spreading false stories that link accused assassin Lee Harvey Oswald to a New Orleans airline pilot named David Ferry.
David Ferry, pun intended, was Joe Pesci's character in JFK.
Gay Italian, got you.
Short gay Italian wearing a wig. You'll see.
Ferry and Martin once were friends, but had a bitter falling out. Martin blames Ferry for their quarrel, and now exacts his revenge by falsely incriminating him in the president's murder. One of Martin's calls is to the home of an assistant DA, and Martin's tales soon reach District Attorney Jim Garrison, who orders Ferry arrested. The charge is vagrancy, pending an investigation of being a fugitive from Texas. Though there is no charge against him in Texas.
Well,
So that guy just made up this whole story about the gay orgy and all this shit then?
Not yet. He's making a connection to Joe Pesci's character, David Ferry. Actually, let me get through 2 more seconds, and then we'll address it. Just so we can see.
Ferry denies all of Martin's allegations, and is in...
This is Joe Pesci's character. Now, you see, he looks a little weird with those eyebrows. Those are drawn on. David Ferry had cancer and had lost all of his hair and would wear a wig and drew in eyebrows. And if you see his character in the movie JFK, they really emphasize how fucking weird he looked. So, no, the gay stuff has not come in yet. We'll get there, JT. I know you want the gay stuff. I know you want it really bad.
understandable.
We'll get to the gay stuff. I promise. Clip that. We will get to the gay stuff.
Investigated, cleared, and quickly released. But Jim Garrison will not forget Jack Martin and David Ferry. That same assassination weekend,
Holy shit, that's John Candy.
Yes, that was John Candy's character. That's it. This is John Candy. All right. So now, here's where we're going to start kind of sticking our toe into the gay stuff.
Don't be gross, Luigi.
Another New Orleans resident with a lust for
Is
the
it a
limelight
steel
thrusts
toe?
himself into the history books. Dean Andrews, a colorful lawyer hospitalized with pneumonia, is also watching television and fantasizing. Feverish and medicated, Andrews transforms a telephone call from an old friend concerning a minor legal matter into high drama. He claims the call was from a man asking him to go to Dallas and represent Lee Harvey Oswald. Andrews names his fictitious caller, Clay Bertrand.
Dean Andrews was a very Damon Runyon-esque character.
He seemed to have a way of talking so as to entertain you.
Well, I don't know what he's up to. He's picking me like chicken, shucking me like corn, stewing me like an oyster. I mean, he ain't put nothing down but air.
It was
All right. Based on the 2 seconds that we just heard of that guy, where do you stand? Where do you think he stands on a scale of 1 to 10 on the credibility factor?
Well, he's breaking the scale by the looks of him. I can understand the word that he said. What did he say?
He said, I don't know what the context is, but he said he's fixing me like chicken, shucking me like corn,
right,
and something me like an oyster. I don't know but he's basically saying someone's fucking with him.
Needs subtitles for you, not God.
Yeah. But so just to recap real quick, that guy Dean, what is his last name? Dean
Candy.
Shit. Fuck! I already lost his name.
Dean Candy. That's
John
Andrews. Andrews.
Dean Andrews. Andrews is in a hospital where he claims he takes a phone call asking him to represent Lee Harvey Oswald in Dallas. This guy's in Louisiana. That's not how the law works. But he's saying he gets a phone call from someone. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Then Jack Lemmon's character is a drunken mental patient who has a beef with a guy named Dave Ferry. He calls Jim Garrison and says, hey, I'll bet Dave Ferry was part of that JFK assassination. And Jim Garrison says, you know what? You sound like a fucking weirdo. I'm going to have you arrested. Okay, that's where we are. Here we go.
Obviously, he was trying to entertain, and he would make up any set of facts you needed to keep your interest up, or to make sure that you enjoyed being around him. But he's not the kind of person you would rely on for any hard facts.
Andrew's story
I've
about
had a great idea. Great idea.
hear
We
it.
should reenact this movie that JT loves so much, and we should ask Clearwater Chad if he will play the role of him, because they look strikingly similar.
I can't wait to see you dressed up as a 17th century French aristocrat.
As long as I'm one of the gay ones, I'm okay.
Fictitious Clay Bertrand makes it into the Warren Report. These two stories, Dean and go to Dallas concerning a minor legal matter, into high drama. He claims the call was from a man asking him to go to Dallas and represent Lee Harvey Oswald. Andrews names his fictitious caller, Clay Bertrand.
Okay, so John Candy gets this call, supposedly, and says, hey, I got a call from someone named Clay Bertrand. Okay? And Clay Bertrand asked me to go defend Lee Harvey Oswald in a place where I don't have any authority to practice law. But he just starts saying this.
Does he at least practice law? Is that his job? Yeah.
Yes, he is a lawyer.
Okay.
I
All right, cool. No, yeah. I was just double checking.
All right. Cool. So that's where we are. And then Garrison gets the call from Jack Lemmon. All right.
Dean Andrews was a very Damon Runyon-esque character.
He seemed to have a way of talking so as to entertain you.
Well, I don't know what he's up to. He's picking me like chicken, shucking me like corn, stewing me like an oyster. I mean, he ain't put nothing down but air.
It was obviously he was trying to entertain, and he would make up any set of facts you needed to keep your interest up, or to make sure that you enjoyed being around him. But he's not the kind of person you would rely on for any hard facts.
Andrews' story about the fictitious Clay Bertrand makes it into the Warren Report. These two stories, Dean Andrews' invention of the name Clay Bertrand and Jack Martin's false accusations about David Ferry, create the two parallel paths that Jim Garrison will follow once he begins his own secret investigation of the assassination. That occurs in the fall of 1966.
And I then realized that we had some things in this area which justify looking into.
Garrison bases his investigation of the assassination on the fact that Oswald lived in New Orleans the summer before the assassination, which
Okay. I guess I don't need to pretend.
placed him in Garrison's jurisdiction. Garrison's first move occurs at Broussard's restaurant, where he invites lawyer Dean Andrews to dinner. Garrison pumps Andrews about his testimony to the Warren Commission. Unaware of Garrison's investigation, Andrews repeats his story about the fictitious Clay Bertrand. Garrison accepts Andrews' story and soon tells his staff that the mysterious Clay Bertrand is none other than the retired director of the New Orleans International Trade Mart, Clay Shaw. Various sources inside Garrison's office have said that he arrived at this conclusion because Shaw and Bertrand have the same first name and because Shaw is gay. The same sexual orientation that Dean Andrews invented for his fictitious...
Case closed.
Okay, so that's the thing, though.
This guy just hates gays.
That's all I need to know.
So
your first
John
name's
Candy's
Clay and you're gay.
Yeah, John Candy's character says, this guy Clay Bertrand calls me. There is, like, no record of a Clay Bertrand. Supposedly, you know, this guy would just make shit up for attention. That is what everyone has said. And we're going to learn exactly what happens a little bit later. But he says, this guy calls me. I think this guy was gay. So Jim Garrison takes it a step further and says, well, I know a gay guy named Clay. And throws the book at him and says, I think you killed John F. Kennedy. That is literally it. That's it. That was enough of him to raise the suspicion. All right. I'm sorry.
That is flawless logic. I just wanted to ask, how funny do you think Deng Lizard is that you're going to leave that comment up there about the gay stuff factory?
What?
Is it only showing on my screen? Have I somehow?
No, it's been on there the whole time.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well, have a guess.
You left the chat up on the screen.
So I'm asking.
Check the live feed. It's not on the live feed.
Oh, okay, cool. It's just showing on our side. Yeah, beg your pardon, pal. Sorry.
Okay.
You thought I was high.
Well, JT, you just said you saw it as well, you motherfucker.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the same thing you are.
Yeah, exactly.
That's weird.
Caller.
Running through this whole tapestry like a golden thread is homosexuality, you see.
Garrison's second move is to interview tipster Jack Martin, who feeds Garrison more stories about David Ferry. Ferry becomes Garrison's #1 suspect, and Garrison places him under 24-hour surveillance. Then, 3 local newspaper reporters reveal Garrison's poorly kept secret investigation in a front-page story. That night, David Ferry calls the newspaper.
Ferry said, basically, yeah, it's true that your story is true, and the Garrison does have an investigation going. And if you come over here, I'll talk to you. I went over there, and we talked for hours. And David Ferry was very scared, but he was also very ill. And he said that Garrison had his house staked out, and he was
scared too.
I have been pegged as the getaway pilot.
Say it again.
I said I would be scared too if some guy showed up to my house saying that I killed the president.
I don't actually think he's scared. I think he just drew his eyebrows on that made him look like he was scared.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Hold on. I got to draw in my serious face. Yeah, so this guy Dave Ferry calls a reporter and just says, "I don't know what the fuck is going on. I somehow landed in the crosshairs of this investigation. I don't know what's happening," which I have to hand it to this reporter. If I got a call like that, I would think the person was a crazy person, but I guess he had some, I guess he was articulate in the way that he was communicating about this, which probably sounded like a bunch of nonsense, but whatever.
Pilot in an elaborate plot to kill Kennedy, Ferry said. He denied being in Dallas at that time, and he denied knowing Oswald. Garrison's investigation, Ferry said, is an utter waste of time.
And he understood that the only way he was going to stay out of Garrison's clutches was to get out there, go public, and hope that he would be protected by his notoriety.
Ferry's interview appears in the next day's newspaper. Garrison reacts by holding his first press conference on the investigation.
There's no question about the fact that there was a plot, and there were a number of individuals involved, and we will make arrests based on that, and we will make charges based on that, and we will obtain convictions based on that, at least of all the people.
With those words, Garrison commits himself publicly to a course of action.
I'm coming after all of these homos.
From which he never withdraws. Media representatives from around the world pour into New Orleans and wait for Garrison's next revelation about the assassination plot. But he has none. So he attacks the local press for breaking the story, though he saw the article beforehand and told the managing editor to go ahead and publish it.
So, this is where we start to see his credibility kind of crumble. He apparently tells the press, "I'm going to let you in on my next steps. I'm going to let you in on how this conspiracy works." And then when he shows up, he goes, "I don't like that you broke the story." And apparently just deflects. Go ahead.
Yeah. Luigi, out of interest, did he refer to his theory as a conspiracy at the time? Because that might be a bit of a giveaway. If he goes, "I don't like how you're reporting on my conspiracy."
Good question. I don't know.
I don't know. That might give it away a tiny bit.
Yeah, but it isn't. But that's not even that crazy from what he just said. What they just showed him saying, which was, "Oh yeah, there was definitely a lot of people involved, and we're going to make arrests." So that's weird.
Garrison has revealed no new information about the assassination plot. The media representatives pack their bags and leave, but not for long. Almost immediately, David Ferry, unfortunately, dies of a stroke. Garrison claims he committed suicide.
There was an autopsy where Al Ozer was present at the autopsy. It was natural causes. The death was natural causes. And that's what was reported at Jim. The death was natural causes.
Yeah, didn't he have cancer and all that? Yeah, he was in bad health to begin with.
He was in terrible health, but the thing was, also in the movie JFK, there is a big implication that someone broke into his house and killed him. But the thing was, he had cancer and was in terrible health to begin with. But no one wants to acknowledge that part of the story.
Well, Luigi, that's what the gays want you to think. So I think you're just falling right into their gay trap right here, pal.
That's what they do, man. That's what did he call him earlier? Shit. How'd I forget? Sinister gay. That's what a sinister gay does.
Refuses to accept that it was natural causes. And Ferry's death becomes the turning point of his investigation.
That was what made the case for Garrison, was when this guy dies.
The death of David Ferry gave Garrison a chance to, had he shut down his circus right then, everything would have been wonderful, and they'd have said, see, he had the guy, he would have been a hero forever.
Yeah, just imagine, though, if the movie JFK ended there. It wouldn't have been a very good movie.
So we went to Jim. We said, Jim, look,
if you want to save face, here's your opportunity to do it. Your main witness is dead. David Ferry is dead. You can't go any further. He looked at us and he said, "Are you crazy?" He said, "Are you crazy?" He said, "We're just really getting on to something."
The international media again flood into the city.
JT, gays.
Oh my God, that's it. I used to think that whole the JFK theory, the movie and everything was like this big like epic thing. Now I'm starting to think you're right. It's all just because the guys were gay and they had no proof of any of this.
Oh, it gets worse. It gets so much worse.
I think they just misunderstood him. They assumed it was a rhetorical question when he said, "Are you crazy?" But he was trying to invite them in. And he's like, "Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Should we do a little fucking crazy conspiracy story about gays?"
I
think
might not
that's
be
what he was
crazy,
getting at.
but you're not one of those gays, are you?
Jesus.
This time in even greater numbers. Garrison exploits the moment, vowing to use donated money to avoid public scrutiny of his investigation.
This is something that the movie JFK decided to leave out.
A group of wealthy businessmen immediately form a committee to fund Garrison's probe privately. They call themselves Truth and Consequences, and in time give Garrison some $70,000.
What a
In today's
cool
money,
man.
over $360,000. This permits Garrison to conduct his investigation with total freedom.
So now he's not using taxpayer dollars and doesn't have anyone to answer to.
So just to clarify as well, they said that they paid him $70,000 for a probe. So this is literally all about gay stuff, essentially, is what you're trying to get at.
Is probe the joke?
I assume so.
What's funny, though, is I don't think that at this point he is marketing his services as being gay hunters.
Okay.
I think at this point he is saying, I think that these people might have killed JFK, but I don't know enough yet. Give me some money and I will dig deep, deep into this gay hole.
Oh no! I like the idea of a spin-off movie called Gay Hunters about the JFK killers. That'd be cool.
I do too.
Answerable to no one.
And these were the people also
I'm gonna spread justice all over the face of these gays.
who had elected the governors, the mayors, named the people who would run for Congress.
This was like a vigilante group of prominent businessmen who Garrison had convinced, put up your money, and we're going to go to the root of it. We're going to find out who killed John F. Kennedy.
2 days after Ferry died.
And in his sales pitch, the Texas businessman was like, hold on now. There any gays involved? Pew, 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 pew.
This was the 60s, so, you got to remember times were a little different back then. So yeah, they were definitely just a bunch of gay hunters. That's all they were.
Yeah, gay hunters. I like it.
I really want a show called Gay Hunters to come out.
We're going to start the show. Next on the Luigi Greenberg channel, Gay Hunters.
Garrison announces he has solved the case. Later that same day, news of Ferry's death flushes out a former friend of his in Baton Rouge, a 24-year-old insurance salesman named Perry Raymond Russo.
All right.
Gay.
Pay close
Gay.
attention to this guy. Perry Russo. Perry Russo. Gay. Oh, shit.
Oh,
Wait,
no.
I got it. Never mind.
And these were the people also who had elected the governors, the mayors, named the people who would run for Congress.
This was like a vigilante.
The following morning, Harvey Oswald,
God damn
Perry,
it.
a 24-year-old insurance salesman named Perry Raymond Russo.
Perry Russo.
Hey.
Russo contacts a Baton Rouge newspaper. He also writes Jim Garrison a letter. Garrison sends Assistant District Attorney Andrew Chambra to Baton Rouge to interview Russo on February 25th. On February 27th, Garrison orders Chambra to get Russo to New Orleans. Russo arrives at the district attorney's office that same day and agrees to take sodium pentothal.
All right. Does everybody know what sodium pentothal is before we get into
Dr. Pepper?
Truth serum.
Oh, truth serum. Truth
It
serum.
was something that they was used to be believed would make people tell the truth. It has since been debunked, and all it did was relax people and make them talk more. But there was a belief at this time that it made people tell the truth.
While drugged, Russo is interrogated by Andrew Chambra and claims to remember a party at David Ferry's house, where he overheard Ferry, Lee Harvey Oswald, known to Russo as Leon Oswald, and Clay Bertrand plotting to assassinate the president. This drug-induced recollection becomes the crux of
Was there any gay sex there, sir? Oh, yeah, that too.
Garrison's case against Shaw. Through news accounts concerning David Ferry and information provided by Garrison's aides, Perry Russo has learned of and accepted the stories of Jack Martin and Dean Andrews and combined them into a single tale. The next day, as Clay Shaw is standing in the doorway of his home...
Did this Perry Russo guy, was that Kevin Bacon's character in the movie?
It is Perry Russo is actually a... what do you call it?
Like it's compiled of a few people like him.
A compilation character, and Kevin Bacon is to some extent Perry Russo, but he's also someone else you're going to see. But there's some backstory on Perry Russo that's going to come to light.
Russo identifies him as Bertrand, a man who never existed, a man invented by Dean Andrews. Garrison now has his rationale for arresting Shaw. The following morning, March 1st, 1967, Garrison issues a subpoena ordering Clay Shaw to appear at the district attorney's office for questioning. Scheduled at 1 p.m., Shaw arrives at 12:40, thinking it concerns a neighbor who is being interviewed by the district attorney.
But I was interrogated by two of the assistant district attorneys.
We still remember this is Tommy Lee Jones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And told them I knew nothing about any conspiracy or anything of this sort. And finally, one of them said to me, well, now look, we're going to ask you to take a lie detector test. And if you don't do it, we're going to charge you with conspiracy to murder the President of the United States.
Dumbfounded, Shaw demands to see his attorney, Edward Wegman. But Wegman is out of town,
That'll be the first
so
thing
Shaw
I'll say.
calls the law office of Edward Wegman's brother, William. It is an associate of his, Salvatore Panzica, who races to Shaw's side, arriving about 4 o'clock. Both Shaw and Panzica think this is all a mistake that can be cleared up. Their immediate concern is Garrison's demand that Shaw take a lie detector test. Shaw is afraid of questions about his private life.
Because he's gay.
Okay.
At 5:30 that afternoon, a stunned Clay Shaw is placed under arrest.
Okay, so any questions so far? We up to date on the story? Anything that needs clarification? Gay, assassin.
No, so it's all this Russo guy who just made up this shit.
Okay,
and now this guy's like, oh fuck, these guys think I shot or think I killed the president some way.
Right, and what's interesting though is that Russo comes out. Russo comes
out of the closet
into the story. He comes into the story as a former friend of David Ferry, and Ferry dies. So Perry Russo comes in. Okay, so
can I ask a question as well?
Oh
so,
my god!
Well,
Yes,
sorry,
of course.
It's related. So, will people who want to find out conspiracy theories about the JFK kind of murder and who actually think, oh, I don't think it was actually the Oswald guy, I think it was like 2 shooters or whatever, will they watch this and go, this is the stupidest fucking theory? There's better theories out there that might actually be true.
Here's what's interesting.
Well, no, this completely debunks that whole JFK or Garrison, and that's like one of the main theories too.
Exactly.
Is this still one of the main theories? I mean, like, is it
Yes.
one that people go, no,
Yes,
it's definitely
it
okay,
absolutely
all right, okay,
is.
Cool. All right.
I mean, it's not. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that because I believe there are thousands of different ones.
Yeah. But this is the most popular, or one of still the most popular.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. All right.
Yes. And this one was even so popular because of the JFK movie that our government actually responded to. I'm not kidding. There was what was it? There was a committee made after the JFK movie because of public demand that the government declassify the the investigation notes of the Warren Commission and the CIA's files on this, because this theory that was perpetuated in the movie JFK became so popular and prevalent.
Wow.
People wanted to know more about it. So
Did you have to set up a committee as well to tell people that you weren't really trying to clone dinosaurs and bring them back? Did that happen as well? Or
Huh?
Yes.
Jurassic Park, it's a movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, Ekul. Was there gay sex in it? Then
Yes,
JT
there was so much gay sex in that movie.
I don't remember that part in the movie.
His alleged co-conspirators are Lee Harvey Oswald and David Ferry. What the press doesn't know is that Garrison has arrested Shaw on the basis of one man's unsubstantiated testimony, induced by sodium pentothal. At 8:30 that night, handcuffed and accompanied now by attorney Edward Wegman, Clay Shaw is paraded in front of the press and is booked for conspiring to murder John F. Kennedy. In the adjacent room, he is fingerprinted and photographed. At 9:20, Shaw is released on $10,000 bail. Meanwhile, Garrison's men search Shaw's home. They leave with 4 boxes of Shaw's personal belongings, but find nothing incriminating.
At first, we were stunned, and then it didn't take long before everybody realized. People who were not in Garrison's pocket and were interested in things like the truth realized that this was a crock.
Garrison conceals the source of information for the search warrant.
But JT, tell us just a little bit from your memory of the movie JFK. How is Jim Garrison portrayed in the movie JFK?
Oh, he's portrayed by Kevin Costner, so he was this hero. He was the everyman. Everyone could be like, my kids, I want to hope they grow up just like Jimmy Garrison.
Yes, yeah. I mean, there's scenes where he's crying over the fact that he might not be able to tell, or
there are people that went to law school simply because they're like, Jim Garrison, God, he has a vision. I guarantee that happened.
Yeah.
I love that this is like such a crazy theory, but when you think of it literally, there's this guy who out of nowhere just got picked up and they went, you killed the president. And then he's like, sorry, excuse me? I thought it was that chap that we all saw kill him and then got killed a bit after. Nope, you're going to jail for life. And then they bail him out as well. If they actually thought we killed the president, why'd they go, have you got 10 grand? Yeah,
that is an amazing thing that I'll admit I didn't even think about. But yes, he is the mastermind of a conspiracy of multiple assassins that assassinate the president, and they set his bail and they let him out the same night.
I think that's amazing that you would ever bail out someone that you thought killed your president.
Yes,
you're like, well, you've got money, right? So it's good. So yeah,
it's a great point. Yes, Hamhead, thank you for the $2. Yay! Hold on, I need a horn or something. Oh wait, no, here we go.
Perfect.
There we go. That is for you, Hamhead. Thank you very much for the generosity. $2. Ekul, JFK was our gunpowder plot. Oswald equals Fox.
Got ya.
I'm sure that makes some sense to somebody out there.
It makes,
in the Lord of the
makes
Rings
perfect
world.
sense. Yeah, it makes
That's
sense.
the V for Vendetta movie.
Yes, that's what it is.
So much anal sex in that movie as well, JT.
That was a good movie, though. I like that movie.
I liked when they shaved their hair off and then they all had anal sex. That was good.
It's my favorite.
That was a movie called V for Vagina.
Oh, that's a good.
But there was no vagina in the movie. It was a real
just
a real disappointment.
That's lots of butts.
Calling him a confidential informant, setting off a frenzied effort by the media to identify him. That night, Perry Russo, questioned while under hypnosis by Dr. Esmond Fatter, again describes the plotting session at David Ferry's
party. So they
party.
went from truth serum to now hypnosis.
Just any.
What are they going to try next?
A combination of the two, actually.
They're going to do tarot cards next. Turn them over, be like, "Ooh, Ouija board. Well, Mr. President is the man who killed you in this room."
I mean, it's amazing. It really is just amazing. But you know what? All we can really say is, yeah, it's a different time, and people believed in stupid things. And I think we've all learned that gays are superior to us all.
Rousseau now refers to Clay Bertrand also as Clem Bertrand. In addition, Rousseau significantly expands the plotting session in this interview, which is the first of 3 conducted while Rousseau is hypnotized.
Anyone knows that a person under hypnosis is highly suggestible.
Anyone knows that.
And you can tell a man that
it's a
he's a
carnival.
Chihuahua dog and he'll bark for you.
He was very pliable. I think he was putty in Jim Garrison's hands.
Especially his butthole.
After a point, I think Rousseau would say anything that Jim Garrison wanted him to say. And then
That's
as
a nice
time
choice of a
progressed,
picture.
Perry Rousseau realized he had put himself...
It was the best pick they had of him.
Just in case you forgot the plot of this theory. Is gays.
Everyone,
lots of gays.
we want to remind you, this is a plot against gay people.
mess, and he wanted out. But if he didn't go along with what Garrison wanted him to say, he knew he was going to be charged.
They kept Rousseau alive financially for a year. He let his buddies come down, and they'd drink at the hotel, and they'd play around, and I saw him pass money to
Did
Rousseau.
you guys hear that? He was paying off Perry Rousseau and paying off his expenses, giving him a wage as long as he testifies against Clay.
Isn't that illegal?
Gay Shaw. Yes, it's illegal. It's incredibly illegal. It's terrible.
Why? Just give me money and I'll say whatever you want. It's fine.
It's remarkably illegal. It is.
How did this case even get to trial if all this, or did they not find all this out till afterward?
Not only did it go to trial, they made a movie where this guy was the hero.
So, Luigi, this guy who's got a hard-on for these gays, what was his position? Like, what was his political position, or like
district attorney? He is the person who brings criminal charges against people in a county, which is
right. But does he have quite a few people who would be above him in that county, or?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So it's not like he's the biggest person in that area. Like he should be reined in, essentially. Yeah. Like,
hey, can you? I'm sorry, something just went wrong with your audio. Can you bring your gain down a little bit? You peaked. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know what you want me to do.
Can you bring your gain down a little bit?
You're saying gain. What do you mean? My volume?
Yes, your gain.
Yeah, don't just repeat the word I don't understand.
Oh, JT, how would you call that? What would you call that?
Volume, knob. Oh.
Yeah, volume.
Your input volume.
I'll turn my volume down. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right.
I know it's still me that's loud, I guess.
$100.
No, apparently it's me. 2 hours in, it's me.
I happened to be there. That was when I was in good graces with Garrison.
The next day, Shaw holds a press conference and issues a categorical denial. That same day, in a surprise move, Garrison requests a preliminary hearing. It is scheduled for March 14th, 2 weeks off. During the hiatus, everyone is asking the same question. Who is Garrison's confidential informant? Garrison unveils his confidential informant on day 1 of the preliminary hearing when he calls Perry Raymond Rousseau to the stand. Rousseau testifies that Clay Shaw is the plotter he knows as Clem Bertrand. 3 days later, Garrison springs another surprise when he calls Vernon Bundy, a drug addict.
So this is also part of the compilation.
Ted's brother.
Yes. This is also the compilation character of Kevin Bacon. This is part of it too.
That guy looks very trusting.
Yeah. So listen to what this guy's story is.
Serving time in the Orleans Parish prison. Bundy claims that one day when he was at the Lake Pontchartrain seawall shooting up on heroin, he saw Clay Shaw give Lee Harvey Oswald a wad of money.
And then hunkered down on his cock.
That seems quite reliable.
So while he's at the park with a needle in his vein, he's like, "Is that Lee? Is that him giving money to someone?" And that's his evidence.
Yeah,
I was smacked off my head, and I saw. You wouldn't believe what I saw.
Yes, and now he's on technically on the payroll. I'm not going to say he's getting money, but he's on the list of witnesses.
If I was a
Herman Bundy
heroin addict,
would
I
say-
would say anything too to get peed.
Hey, somebody catches on to that. Yeah, somebody
Hey,
catches on to that he might not be that credible.
Don't say he's not credible just because he's a smackhead. Come on.
He's also gay.
Anything Garrison
That's
wanted
even
him to
worse.
say to get out.
Much worse.
When you wake up in the morning and you're addicted to a drug like heroin, you're going to want to use the drug immediately. You're not going to get in the car, go out to the lake, which is patrolled by the levee board police, park, and stick a needle in your arm.
On the fourth day, the
One
three-judge
sec,
panel
wait.
rules.
One sec. He also probably doesn't go to bed at 10 and wake up at like 7 o'clock either, though, if he's a heroin addict. So he's like, that's unrealistic that he would go to the park to have his heroin.
Time for my morning coffee and heroin. Deadpool, thank you very much for the $9.99. They
Thank
are
you, Deadpool.
watching you. Thank you very much. And yes, they are watching you, the gays.
That the district attorney has presented sufficient evidence and that Clay Shaw should stand trial. Yet the underlying record now available reveals the flimsy, often corrupt nature of the evidence Garrison used to prosecute Shaw. As revealed in part by the media in 1967 and at Shaw's trial in 1969, and more fully disclosed in Edward O'Donnell's report to Jim Garrison, Perry Russo took 2 lie detector tests. His reading...
So, I want to make sure that I clarify what the point of all that was that he just said, is that before Perry Russo went on, was before he testified, basically was on the stage to testify, Jim Garrison got a report that he was lying. And Jim Garrison still put him on.
Things were so erratic that both examiners stopped the tests. Russo then admitted to each that his story was not true. Examiner Roy Jacob conducted the first test the week before Shaw's preliminary.
That right there, he just told them, hey, I'm full of shit. They should have just stopped.
You'd think.
But at that point, they then didn't believe him. They're like, no, I believed you before. That was believable.
So
they're like, this guy's gay. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Don't you want to see the gays punished? So we're going to learn a little bit more about Mr. Russo here, but but that's an important part of the story. Was this all kind of comes out after the fact, of course, but it comes out Jim Garrison knew he was lying, and let's hear a little more about it.
Hearing 3 months later, Edward O'Donnell conducted the second one.
He said, I don't know if Clay Shaw was at Dave Perry's apartment or not. I said, what? I said, Perry, Clay Shaw's a man at 6'6", very distinguished looking. If you were to see him, you'd have to remember. I said, was he there or wasn't he? He said, Mr. O'Donnell, if I have to give you a yes or no answer, my answer would be no, he was not there.
Shortly before Garrison put Vernon Bundy on the witness stand, polygraph examiner James Kruby told Garrison that Bundy was lying, and 2 of Garrison's own men argued against using Bundy as a witness. Edward O'Donnell was there.
Charlie Ward said, well, we're not going to use him as a witness then. And Jim Garrison jumped up and had a discussion with Charlie Ward about whether they're going to use him or not. And Jim Garrison's statement, I don't care if he's lying or not. We're going to use him. I'll never forget those words.
Dean Andrews recanted the Clay Bertrand story to the FBI. He told...
All right, we hear that? John Candy recants his story and says he made it up.
So they all admit they made it up.
They all admit they made it up.
I'm not sure who to believe now.
So there was
The one person who got all these people to make it up, or every other person who said it's bullshit. The tricky one.
Yes. But, we all want to see this gay guy punished.
Told Garrison that Bertrand didn't exist before Garrison arrested Shaw. And despite being charged with perjury and jailed, Andrews refuses to say what Garrison wants him to say.
So that's an interesting little arc in his, his story. He comes in, tells this, lie, this stupid story, and then it takes off without him. Like, he's not even attached to this missile anymore that's shooting off, and he's like, oh, shit, this is snowballing. So he comes to the defense and says, okay, look, I made that stuff up. I thought it was interesting. I'm sorry. And then Jim Garrison says, well, yeah, but there's some truth to it, right? Because obviously this guy is gay, and we want him to be prosecuted for the JFK assassination. And this guy says, I'm not doing it, man. It was a lie. It was a lie. So, to some extent, he's kind of, there's a story arc there where he does kind of come off as kind of a good guy, despite being a buffoon.
So, Luigi, do you know much about this guy beyond the JFK stuff? Do you know...
Which guy?
The main guy who's trying to get everyone in trouble for being gay.
Jim Garrison.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know much about him, before all the JFK stuff? Have you looked into him, or do you...
Yeah, apparently he was a stand-up...
so all of a sudden he just went, I'm fucking crazy. I'm just going to start completely... Fair enough, okay. Because I was wondering if he maybe had a history of, spurious claims and what have you.
Your audio, man, is disconnecting. It's like... It's peaking.
Let's see if I can switch then.
Oh,
all right,
whatever you just did, much better.
Nothing? Okay, I'll keep doing nothing.
Okay, all right. Just
cool.
Keep your head in that position. All right.
Insisting that Clay Shaw is not Clay Bertrand. Later on the witness stand, Andrews will state publicly that Bertrand is a figment of his imagination. At great personal cost to himself, Andrews did everything he could to set the record straight and save Clay Shaw from a prosecution that Andrews himself unwittingly had set in motion. David Ferry repeatedly denied any involvement in the assassination. To prove he was telling the truth, he agreed to be polygraphed and volunteered to take sodium pentothal, but Garrison never did either. Jack Martin was an
Okay, now do we remember this guy?
Yeah, Jack.
Jack Lemmon.
Alcoholic who once sued Garrison and was known by Garrison to invent stories. Martin admitted to the Secret Service and the FBI in 1963 that he made up his stories about David Ferry. William Gurvich and James Alcock, two of Garrison's top aides, at first tried to stop Garrison from arresting Shaw.
Alcock came to see me at the Fontainebleau with the other triple threat idiot, Ivon. And Alcock wept, asking me if I could not talk to Garrison to abandon this idea that trying this. And I mean it. He literally wept.
Okay, so I wanted to take a little bit of a break here. I just put this break in here because to some extent I thought that there would be some questions. There would be some kind of, I don't know, discussion topics or something, but you guys seem to be pretty on top of it and understanding it, right? Like,
yeah, gay equals bad. Got you.
Gay equals bad, and gay equals assassin.
Sinister gays. Got you.
Gay equals CIA rogue sleeper agents. Okay. All right.
Pretty much covers it.
That's it. All right. So, but we are going to do something just a little bit different this time. This is something I had planned. Unfortunately, we had someone cancel.
What the fuck is this?
And this is Ekul Pineapple.
What is this?
Hype train. All right, everybody, come on. This is going to be the first time we're doing the hype train. Come on, get on board. Get on board. Who's on board the hype train? Who's doing the hype train? Come on now. Come on. This is early day. We are not assassins. Let's get on the hype train. Who's on the hype train? Hamhead's on the hype train. Hamhead, who's on the hype train? King Lizard's on the hype train. That's right. King Lizard's on the hype train. Come on, JT, can you get on the hype train? Come on.
No, I don't think
we're doing it. We're doing it. Come on, who's on the hype train? That's right. Come on, who's on the hype train? Nobody's on the hype train. Ekul hype train. Come on, Ekul hype train.
Why are you putting it on me?
It's Ekul hype train. Who wants to be on the hype train? wants to be on the hype train? Come on now. Oh, Corndiff on the hype train. I don't remember who all is on the hype train. Oh, Hamhead just with one Luigi Greenberg membership. Hamhead's on the hype train. Catherine got his membership. Oh yeah, I'm not dancing. Why am I dancing? That's right. Yeah, here we go. Who's on the hype train? Who's on the hype train? Come on.
No, I'm not.
I'm dancing. Who's dancing? Who's dancing with me? Come on. You gotta dance, Ekul.
I did this for like 2 minutes.
I'm not dancing enough. Dance more. Come on. Who's on the hype train? Who's on the hype train? Deadpool's on the hype train.
How fucking long is it?
We're doing it. Are you on the hype train? Come on now. Come on, hold on the hype train. This was all Ekul's idea. This is all JT's idea.
This is my idea. It's on my channel. I don't want you getting
it. Man, I am getting no love for the hype train. People do not like your hype train, Ekul. People.
Too late for this shit.
I'm not gonna do 9 minutes.
Hero.
I'm tired.
Good.
Supposed to keep to you.
All right.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
Man, no love for the hype train.
You got one from Hamhead.
It was a way for me to interrupt this because normally we have lots of comedic moments of joking about this nonsense bullshit and goofing on people who claim stuff. So I just felt there needed to be a break in there and I wasn't sure how to do it. So that's what I arrived at. Love it or hate it. Sorry.
I'm scared.
This was all JT's idea.
There, he's planned strategy for his investigation.
The media report the growing dissension in Garrison's office.
Garrison's investigation has seemed to concentrate on homosexuals. That, of course, is an old police trick.
That's an old police trick. Did you know that? This is interesting now is that, so Garrison's office is having a revolt.
Homosexuals have been a particular target of Garrison's over the years. Even members of his staff have been privately critical of the emphasis on men whose deviation makes them vulnerable.
Then, a disillusioned William Gurvich goes
very vulnerable,
leaving the investigation and taking with him his copy of Garrison's master file.
Is there anything in that file that would in any way indicate to you that there was, in fact, a conspiracy born in New Orleans to kill the President of the United States?
So there's gays and master files on this show.
Is there
master gays?
there anything in that file that would in any way indicate to you that Clay Shaw is in any way guilty of the charge against him?
None whatsoever.
Is there anything that he can do at this point to effectively undo what he already has done?
No, because he's made these strong allegations. It's cost the defendant an awful lot of money, I would assume, and the man is disgraced. And if Garrison is as wrong as I think he is, I think he should be made to answer for his crimes, like he says Clay Shaw should be made to answer for what he has accused him of doing.
Now, JT, do you remember this ever being discussed in the movie JFK?
In your favorite movie?
His lead investigator leaves and then does an interview saying that Jim Garrison has been disgraced and that nothing would suggest that there is any conspiracy amongst homosexuals to murder the president?
I remember the one scene where one of his assistants leaves, but that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really hear like all this stuff about it.
So, yeah, spoiler. So he replaces his lead investigator, and then that guy leaves. Yeah.
When Gurvich was convinced that Garrison had nothing, and when he arrested Clay Shaw, this is once again an individual who saw Shaw as being persecuted rather than prosecuted. And being a man of principle, Gurvich
only one way to find out him.
Gurvich is well known and respected, and his defection is a blow to Garrison. Another blow occurred earlier, behind the scenes.
Nice choice of words.
Since December 1966.
I swear they intentionally use so many words like that throughout this whole thing. Jesus.
He just continued to pound him with charges.
Life magazine personnel, headquartered at the Richelieu Hotel, have been working secretly with Garrison. But after he arrests Clay Shaw, management at
true.
Life pulls...
OG Mumbling Nick, that's right. In the movie, the guy leaves, but then comes back to support him when they're on trial. That is true. Yes, I forgot.
Remember that bit? Remember that bit, JT?
Yeah, I remember it. Everyone
Yeah.
remembered that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
Your
they
favorite bit?
embrace, and then they have sex.
The Garrison cover story planned for the April issue.
I'm regretting ever
Garrison
saying
immediately
that it was
turns
one
to
of my
Saturday
favorite
Evening
movies.
Post.
Yeah,
That's
it was
the
your
theme here.
favorite movie that you know nothing
All right, maybe
about.
okay,
and you
maybe
don't
it
remember
wasn't.
anything about.
Okay, just like the people on the show in the video, I'm now admitting I lied. I was wrong. It's not my
I
favorite
am
movie.
shocked. I am shocked. This is a crazy
Okay, so
expose
now
on yourself.
Writer James Phelan. After lunch at the New Orleans Athletic Club, Garrison invites Phelan to accompany him on a vacation to Las Vegas and promises to tell him the whole incredible story.
Get your tickets.
In Las
Promo
Vegas,
code come.
Garrison startles Phelan by claiming that the president's murder was a homosexual thrill killing.
I said, well,
Homosexual thrill killing. That's what I actually tried to cite earlier when I was giving the overview of this. I couldn't remember the exact phrasing, but yes. Homosexual thrill kill.
I'm homosexual. And he said, well, he says, first he said, there was Kennedy, popular, virile, highly practicing heterosexual, and there's this guy, Perry, homosexual, Shaw, homosexual, and he says, you could see the envy. You could just imagine the thrill that they got of killing this
of gay sex, the thrill of gay sex.
I know what these gay guys think when they look at that handsome, young, successful man. They go, I really want to kill him for some reason. It's like, no, it's probably just jack off to him. That's about it.
We should all kill him.
Yeah, for sure.
this popular heterosexual.
Then Garrison gives Phelan 2 memorandums concerning Perry Russo, which Garrison describes as my case against Shaw. That night, Phelan reads the documents and is astonished to discover the all-important conspiratorial plotting session at David Ferry's apartment is missing from Russo's first interview.
You hear that? The whole thing that he was there to say on the stand is missing from his initial statement. Seems suspicious.
Phelan has found the gaping hole in Garrison's case.
The big
Oh my god,
gaping
that's
hole.
so deliberate. That's not even subtle, have it?
You can picture it. You can even picture it in your head.
They're a bunch of benders. Oh shit.
Against Shaw.
Nothing about a conspiracy to kill Kennedy.
But just imagine it's Kevin Costner's gaping hole, and then it's okay.
That's okay then. That's all right.
Feel
Kevin
better.
Costner's giant gaping hole.
Shaw having met Ferry, or Shaw having met Oswald, or any kind of a party at Ferry's apartment, and it stunned me.
Phelan concludes that Russo's story was developed through leading questions under drugs and hypnosis.
They had him hypnotized by a family doctor there by the name of Esmond Fatter, and he hypnotized Russo, and Fatter had been briefed by the district attorney's office.
Even that guy's head looks like a
ideas
typical
about
penis.
things. And he plainly prompted Russo, and he made references to the white-haired man is there. And Russo didn't respond to that, and then he went on and said, well, you're in Ferry's apartment, and there's a Oswald there.
No, he said a Ferry's apartment.
And the white-haired man, they're talking about assassinating somebody.
Maybe they meant
reveals what he learned
assassinating
in Las-
sodomy. Maybe they just misheard him.
That's what it was.
That makes sense.
Vegas in the article he writes. It is the first comprehensive critique of Garrison's case. Garrison never comments on it publicly, but his assistant, Andrew Chambra, in a televised response, denounces the article as incomplete and distorted, and invites Phelan to repeat his charges to the local grand jury. Garrison, privately enraged at Phelan, dismisses his revelations as technical points, and proceeds with his case.
So,
What the hell's a technical point?
Your question earlier,
You like to
JT, was such a perfect question, and I just didn't want to like touch on it, or I couldn't have really touched on it back then. But you said, well, okay, we're going to talk about all this stuff discrediting these people, but are we going to talk about Jim Garrison's evidence? This is what Jim Garrison's evidence was. Him looking through the facts and going, we don't need that. That's okay. That's a technical. I don't know what the fuck that means, but whatever.
He deleted the whole gay orgy thing, and that's the linchpin in this whole thing. Even he knew that was bullshit.
A gay orgy brought everyone together. A linchpin. I don't know why that's funny to me. But yes, you are correct. So let's hear a little bit more about Mr. Garrison, who I have to assume Mr. Garrison here is just a self-hating gay man.
Case against Clay Shaw. For despite the seemingly obvious setbacks, the results of the preliminary hearing still stand. While Shaw's attorneys file various pleadings laying the groundwork for an appeal if needed, Garrison tours the country, making one charge after another. Earlier, he accused anti-Castro Cubans, homosexuals, some white Russians, an element of the Dallas Police Department, and oil-rich Texas millionaires of involvement in the assassination.
Oh my God, those oil-rich Texans love hanging around with those gays sorting out all these murders. Jesus Christ.
So he's literally doing a tour and just saying, you know who else is involved? The gays and the police. Yes, oil men.
Yep, the tycoons. Yep, they're involved.
The cast of Dallas, the A-Team. Just, I mean, random people. But also, you're not supposed to say this shit unless you could bring charges against them. You know, in his role,
slander, ain't it? Like
from a district attorney, absolutely. If you and I were to say something and just say, "Hey, I think the Dallas Police Department was in it," I don't mean.
I think the Dallas Police Department are a bunch of fags. Does that help? But okay, would I be okay to say that?
You're okay to say that,
okay,
yes.
Cool.
But as a district attorney, who is the face of the government of New Orleans, no, you can't say shit like that.
Okay, all right.
What were you saying, JT?
I was gonna say, what if he just said like allegedly?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have learned that in the Dabbleverse. If you say allegedly, you can say anything.
Allegedly. But that's 2 terms of service.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one. That's the point. He's not. He is the government. He is the face of the government. He is the executor of the government, saying, "You know who else I'm coming after? I'm coming after you, and I'm coming after you." So those are threats. Those are legal threats, which he should have been. He should have had like his hand slapped for that stuff. Already.
You get a court case, and you get a court case.
Exactly.
You get a court case.
Isn't that what Trump just did to get elected?
Whoa.
Wait.
Come on.
I don't even know. Like, I don't get political at all. But did he threaten somebody with prosecution?
That's not cool.
Well, yeah, isn't that what they all say that?
Too far, man. Come on.
Okay. I don't know. I'm going to say I don't
Allegedly.
know. I don't get political.
President
YouTube
Johnson is a man
Did he call somebody gay and said that they were an assassin?
and who is in control of the federal agencies which have participated in concealing
Maybe.
and
He
destroying
probably
evidence.
did at some point.
And the day will come when everybody else in the world will know that the CIA killed John Kennedy.
You don't need proof.
Gay in Minecraft, I like that. So there, he just says the CIA. He says, so we've already named all these other people. Now he's saying the CIA killed Kennedy. Now we all know that as being like, you know, a prevalent conspiracy theory, but he was the first person to say it out loud. Imagine how like shocking that would have been to hear him say that, you know.
Has experienced conflict before.
Oh yeah, so Clay Shaw is a decorated veteran.
In Europe, when he served as Deputy Chief of Staff to Brigadier General Charles O. Thrasher.
What?
I was gonna say that first picture of him in uniform, and if your gaydar doesn't go off, then it would ever go.
This was in the time of where you weren't allowed to be in the military if you were gay. So the
good old days.
The
good old gays.
He fooled somebody.
As Thrasher's right-hand man, Shaw helped coordinate everything from toothpaste to tanks, flowing to 3 armies fighting Nazi Germany.
Like that.
Handsome.
Well
Hang on
kept.
a second.
Very
Hang
clean.
on. JT, do you think Brokeback Mountain is just a really cool country movie as well? I think you might be a closeted homosexual, my
It's
friend.
a movie about herding sheep.
It was a sad movie.
What
The
about
guy,
all the
he
gays?
hung out in his apartment all by himself, drinking and smoking.
JT, the right answer was I've never seen it.
Oh, sorry.
Shaw was decorated by his own country and by France as well, and he rose from the rank of private to major. The battle
to major privates. Hey-o.
is joined on January 21st,
we all know how he got
1969,
moved up in the ranks.
when the gavel sounds in the courtroom of Judge Edward A. Haggerty Jr.
Faggoty Jr., see? They did it again.
A surprise prosecution witness, an accountant named
Oh,
Charles
that was a
Spiesel,
stretch.
describes another party witness.
That one.
My bad.
Haggerty, faggot. Okay,
My bad,
come
my
on.
bad, sorry.
So, all right. So pay attention to
carried
this guy, Charles Spiesel. Now, here's the weird thing. I can't find much on this guy after the fact, and I don't know how he's even introduced into this story.
He's probably not gay. That's why you can't find anything on him.
Maybe, but
Yeah.
listen to what happens.
The president was discussed. He claims that Clay Shaw and David Ferry were present at this one too. Spiesel sounds convincing until his cross-examination, when Salvatore Panzica receives a telephone call.
And I called Bill Storm, my next door neighbor, and he told me that he said, I know this guy who's on the stand. I just heard about it on the radio. He said, the guy's a nut. He had his daughter fingerprinted because he didn't want to make sure that the same girl came back in the same body that he sent to college.
You know what this is? You know what all this is?
Go.
This is imagine when you guys remember the Jean Benet case and like all the people that claimed to have been there were like people going into the press saying like, "Oh, I killed Jean Benet."
Yeah, trying to claim responsibility.
Yeah, this is as if you're basing a whole entire court case on those individuals.
100%. They're coming out of the woodwork. Now, did y'all hear what this guy just said about this guy Spiesel? That apparently he had a daughter in college that he sent off, but he insisted that she be fingerprinted to ensure.
Oh, thank God you said printed. Sorry, go on.
So that when she returned, that she still had the same body.
Oh God.
That's normal, I guess. It was the 60s or maybe the 50s back then.
They were doing that kind of stuff all the time. Come on.
That's
speechless.
normal.
It's a different time.
Back when being gay was weird.
I could not believe it. It was
Still
all I could
weird.
do to keep from breaking out laughing in the middle of this trial. Here is this man, he's being questioned, and he starts coming apart under questioning and starts telling the jury and the audience at the trial that the Pinkertons were following him with the purpose of destroying his sex life.
I don't know who she's referring to, the Pinkertons. That's something that just gets
Wasn't
thrown
it the Pinkerton back in like the old West? They're like the guys who like guarded the money going from east to west. Fuck, what do they call them?
Cowboys.
Start over?
They were like, the Pinkertons.
No,
they were a group of. I'm trying to explain it to you right now.
Sure.
They were like back in like they were the guys who like guarded the money being. Fuck off.
Spiesel's unraveling on the witness stand is followed by a circus-like bus trip to the French
Google
Quarter
it. What
by
the
Judge
fuck? I didn't Google it.
defendant.
Google Pinkertons. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Pinkerton would probably actually be a
Luigi.
name for gay people. The gays. The Pinkertons.
No, Luigi, they guarded the money. They were Jewish. That's what he's trying to get at.
Oh,
Jews.
Maybe they were Jewish. I didn't even think of that.
Thank you. That makes sense.
Prosecution.
Okay, so look, so he says, I know where this party was. I'm going to show you. And then everyone takes a trip to where he says it is. And
defense teams in an unsuccessful search for the apartment where Spiesel's alleged party occurred.
He couldn't identify it. He couldn't identify anything, and everyone is just laughing at him.
Couldn't have found the right room because it never existed. And it was a complete disaster. The jury ended up laughing.
That's a good sign.
Perry Russo testifies next. He is on the witness stand 2 full
Hamhead's
days.
got an actual answer if you
Though
want.
he sticks to his basic story, Russo makes a number of damaging statements on cross-examination.
The Pinkertons were railroad cops.
Yes,
I mean, you
exactly.
say so, JT.
Why didn't you just say that, JT?
That's
Why
what
were
I was trying to explain.
did you have to be an anti-Semite about it? Come on.
Hey, what are you doing on Saturdays, JT? We might need you here.
examination.
Well, I mean, at
Among
the
others.
infamous gay orgy, I'll tell you that.
Of course.
Well, that's how we
No,
rope you in.
no Jews
Russo
allowed.
admits telling polygraph examiner Edward O'Donnell that he didn't know whether or not Shaw was present at the plotting session, and if he had to give a yes or no, he would have to say no. Of the 73 witnesses who take the stand, 52 are called by Garrison's team, yet only Russo is legally significant because only he claims he heard the alleged conspirators plotting. The case against Clay Shaw rises or falls on Perry Raymond Russo. Both the prosecution and the defense tell the jury that. And of the 21 witnesses called by the defense, none are more devastating to Garrison's case than the two who directly address Russo's testimony, writer James Phelan and polygraph examiner Edward O'Donnell. Clay Shaw testifies that day too. He again categorically denies all the charges. He never attended a conspiratorial party. He never knew Perry Russo,
But lots of gay sex at that point.
David Ferry, or Lee Harvey Oswald, and he never conspired to kill the president. But Shaw's name is barely mentioned.
What, the gay sex orgy?
Yeah, that's
pretty sure you
the
can find it.
JFK movie they should have made. It's just that just filming the entire orgy from beginning to end. That would have been great. It would start out with these guys, then Lee shows up with the pen and paper, and then by the end, they got it all planned.
The white makeup with the single, mole on the cheek, dressed as the French aristocrats, and
I think you thought this through a bit too much, guys.
well, I like it though. Anybody out there listening who needs a gay porn idea, JT's your man.
After the judge sides with the
I didn't say
prosecution
it. Maybe NC-17, but not that far.
Oh, okay, all right. It could be a romance. It could be a romance story.
allow the Dallas evidence to be introduced. This decision sets the stage for Garrison's attack on the Warren Report, and he banks heavily on the shock value of the first public viewing of the Zapruder film, which shows the president being shot. Those in the courtroom still remember.
And they kept playing the Zapruder film.
What's that?
I would say it looks like a money shot scene.
That's what they tried to relate it to. These gay men, obsessed with cum.
They must have
I just never thought of it. That's why his head went back into the left.
And back into the left. And back into the left again.
Yeah, it was Governor Connolly's wad. It was, oh, God, no.
That is.
Garrison tells one reporter that showing the film might cause a revolution. But Garrison's men never managed to connect the film or the events in Dallas to Clay Shaw.
To see the Zapruder film and tying in with Clay Shaw, I never could get a communication between the two.
In closing, Irvin Diamond tells the jury that the trial is a forum for an attack by Garrison on the Warren Report, and Shaw is a patsy picked to make it possible. In his final statement, Garrison refers five...
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah. It's like back then, did they just call like look at them pansy
he's a
over
pansy.
there, huh?
Oh, pansy.
Pansy,
Maybe we're
huh?
thinking of pansy. Yeah.
Shut up, you.
No, that too, but also I'm thinking like the name. Well, the word like patsy, like
There is a name, Patsy.
I think, yeah.
times to the Zapruder film,
All right, we are
and
coming
quotes
towards
President
the end
Kennedy's
of the
most famous line. "Ask not what your country can do for you," Garrison tells the jurors, "but what you can do for your country." The jury retires to deliberate at 10 minutes after
Never
midnight.
heard of it.
The building is locked. The atmosphere is tense.
So 40 days of trial.
Despite the evidence, most expect Garrison's charisma to win the day. After a 40-day trial, the jury is out only 54 minutes. Their verdict, not guilty.
What a surprise.
How long was the OJ one? Was a little longer than that.
2 years. It was 2 years. But yeah, this is funny. So yeah, I would love to know, like, the jurors being like, wait, what did the gay part have to do with anything? Like, what does it matter that he's gay? Why does that make him a CIA rogue assassin?
It's like they all walked in the room. The clock started. They got a coffee, had a couple smokes, joked around, and they're like, "All right, let's go." And that was it.
Are we all on the same page here? Can we just get this done? I gotta go home. Ask not what that gay orgy.
So like it's been 40 fucking days. Can we leave now? Thanks.
Yeah. Hey, dude. That gay shit was crazy, right? What does that have to do with anything?
How can a judge even let this go this far? They just not feel like
that's what every legal author is pretty much asking. Like, how the fuck did this get as far as it went? But is the story even over?
The room erupts with shouts of joy, relief, euphoria, and for some, dismay.
The man was innocent. He was falsely accused. He was falsely arrested. The whole case was built on lies and deception.
Astonishingly, 48 hours after the acquittal, Garrison rearrests Shaw.
For what?
48 hours. So was that
This
in
is
the
just
JFK movie?
this is just for being gay. It's nothing more. Just for being gay.
The fuck?
It was that in the JFK movie after he lost?
No,
was waiting for him with, haha, gotcha, bitch.
I mean, what could he have possibly done in the 48 hours to get arrested again?
Let's listen. Okay. So I want to have these moments where we just stop and think for a moment. This sounds like a crazy person, right? An obsessed, crazy person.
How is he not disbarred?
How is Kevin Costner portrayed in the movie JFK? He's portrayed as this honorable, smart man looking for justice, which makes me just think, who the fuck read this script and didn't think to do a little bit of fact checking before he made this stupid, ridiculous story?
The charge.
Oh, what?
Sorry. Can your animation eye roll? Can you do an eye roll as
sort of? Hold on.
Can you bring up OG's stupid comment and then do an eye roll? That'd be great.
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
It could actually fly better today as laws and the Constitution no longer matter. Oh, yeah.
And then put yourself full screen and do a
There you
big
go.
old eye roll. Perfect. Thank you, Pam. Appreciate it. Mumbly Nick, shut up. We're talking about gays here, not political gays. Okay.
Let's get back to talking about gay orgies.
His perjury, 2 counts, for saying under oath that he did not know David Ferry or Lee Harvey Oswald.
So, despite the fact, okay, so I want you guys to really soak in the legal aspect of this. So it was determined that he was not guilty of these charges of which he testified, which would suggest that not guilty aspect would apply to the testimony as well, saying, oh, hey, if you're saying this and we came to this conclusion, therefore we have heard the truth in court. Okay? It's a concluded matter. But now Garrison is saying, despite the fact that it's concluded, I still think you were lying, and files charges against him. It's amazing.
Well, he didn't think the other guy, the Russo guy, wasn't lying.
Right. I mean, it's just really fucking amazing. Conveniently left out of the movie JFK.
Convicted, the penalty is the same as the conspiracy charge, 20 years in jail. Shaw again faces the press.
I do indeed so stand. On March 2nd, 1967, I said I did not know, nor had I ever known either Oswald or Ferry.
That's true.
I repeat that. I told the truth on the stand, and one can only question why District Attorney should choose to bring this charge now.
Oh. I am so sorry. I had some points that I meant to discuss earlier.
Right.
But
Start the show again. Come on.
I guess this is now as good a time as any. Here's what's interesting. And as a skeptic, I don't have answers. Despite some of the stuff that got found out in this investigation of Garrison, it turns out he was right about a few things. And despite the fact that this documentary is saying, oh, hey, he's full of shit on this and full of shit on this, it turns out a little bit later
about the gays,
we find out that there are little aspects that he said that were later debunked, but the debunkers actually got their information wrong, if that makes any sense. So specifically, David Ferry and Lee Harvey Oswald did know each other. And there are pictures of them together. Gay pictures? Yeah, having gay sex while dressed as French aristocrats.
Wow.
And then let's see. I see Oswald and Ferry knew each other. Perry Russo was later in I'm sorry, not even later. This was oh yeah, it was later. Okay, so this was 1967 that all this happened. In 1970, Perry Russo was arrested for burglary and possession of stolen property. So now we've kind of seen his character. He is a con man, a thief,
Zumok.
He's Zumok, a Joey C, whatever you want to call him.
Whoa. Leave Joey alone.
But guess what?
He ain't lying.
Garrison drops
Joey is.
several of the charges against Russo and gives him probation.
Very generous.
Yeah. So, anyway, all right. So, yeah, there's a few things that just came to light. I wrote them
The
down.
possibility that Shaw will be convicted is greater this time because of the seeming credibility of the witnesses from the small community of Clinton, Louisiana. But what exactly happened in Clinton is unclear. What is clear is that Garrison removed his first two investigators from...
What's that? I'm sorry?
You think they added that Clinton stuff prominently to just be like, hey, don't forget, guys, we know who the real enemy is.
Yeah, it might have been. But it turns out there was this town called Clinton in Louisiana where people testified that they saw Ferry, Oswald, and Shaw riding in a car together. Yeah, but I left that.
Guilty.
Yeah, but the thing
Was it a drop top?
But well, the thing was, it had been 8 years before, and like no one could really say, well, are you sure it was these three guys? Anyway.
From the case. And after they were gone, Garrison turned the Clinton area over to one of his own assistants. And that's when much of the testimony that was given in the courtroom developed. But it was 25 years before that came to light. In 1969, when Garrison charges Shaw with perjury, Shaw faces a serious risk of being convicted. Shaw now turns to the federal courts for protection from Garrison's charges.
Well, insofar as further harassment, I've asked the federal government to protect me from continuing harassment, continuous suits, to protect my right to a fair and impartial trial in which there should be no perjured evidence. Those are the rights I expect them to protect for me.
For 2 more years, as his attorneys file one pleading after another in federal court, Shaw quietly endures what he refers to in his journal as supporting the insupportable, tolerating the intolerable, and bearing the unbearable. He struggles with depression, seeks relief in alcohol, and lives the careful, secluded existence of a permanently stigmatized man fighting for his life. Then, after repeated rejections, Edward Wegman's impassioned complaint seeking an injunction against Jim Garrison wins a hearing before United States District Court Judge Herbert W. Christenberry. This time, Garrison is the defendant. The hearing on the civil action entitled Clay L. Shaw versus Jim Garrison lasts 3 days.
Oh, I found it. I found the other thing that I was looking for. Supposedly, Clay Shaw did know Dave Ferry. Supposedly, it's alleged that a reporter came out and said that Shaw admitted to knowing Ferry through what they call the, quote, homosexual underground.
I knew it. I knew there'd be more sinister gayness going on.
Well, all the, if back in New Orleans and around that time, if you're gay, I imagine you probably all know each other in one way or another.
Yeah, all gays are alike, right?
You would know, JT, not me. I'm sorry.
I mean, back then, they were all at these orgies, all dressed up in their,
looking all
Roman
sinister.
gear.
Yeah.
How did you get an orgy together with that before the internet?
Did you say in their Roman gear?
That is a good question. How did they There had to be some secret spot that they all hung out at.
Flyers?
Flyers,
that had to
yeah. They
go out?
put it on the lamp.
Maybe that's what Oswald was handing out on the corner. They weren't like Castro. No, they were flyers to the gay hookup. That's it.
Have you
That
seen
makes
this
no
guy?
That's the movie.
Oh.
That's the movie.
That's the
I was
movie.
just
That's
here
it
for a
right
gay
there.
orgy. I was not expecting to hear assassination plans. I was just
You
here
were
for
like,
the-
yeah, like whoa, man, easy.
Garrison takes the witness stand on the second day. Shaw's attorney, William Wegman, fires one question after another at Garrison, forcing him to defend his actions in prosecuting Clay Shaw. Garrison makes false statements, and he is evasive.
And Garrison would not answer the questions. He did the equivalent of taking the fifth.
Judge Christenberry is displeased and lets Garrison know it. When Garrison finally steps down, he has seen the handwriting on the wall. James Alcock admits on the witness stand that Shaw was arrested solely on the basis of Perry Russo's testimony. At the end of the second day, Perry Russo, who has been subpoenaed by Shaw's team, privately asks to speak to Irvin Diamond. A meeting is arranged. That night, Russo sits down with Shaw's attorneys and repudiates his testimony against Clay Shaw.
Perry Russo goes to Shaw's attorneys and says, I lied about everything.
He states that Shaw was absolutely not in Ferry's apartment and claims that he was brainwashed by members of Garrison's staff to identify Shaw. The following morning, Russo takes the stand and pleads the Fifth Amendment.
And of course, the reason he took the Fifth Amendment was that if he'd gotten on the witness stand and recanted his story under oath, he would have been charged by Garrison with perjury.
Judge Christenberry suggests that Garrison's men grant Russo immunity in state court, which would mean Garrison couldn't charge him with perjury. We can't do that, replies one of Garrison's attorneys. So Russo is dismissed and never tells the truth on the witness stand.
What'd you say?
I just made sucking noises.
Oh.
I was gonna say that's a great way of explaining the Fifth Amendment to anyone that had like questions about it. It's like a clear example of what these guys did.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying like realistically if someone had a question.
Can we check the chat? Has anyone got any questions about it?
We'll wait. We'll wait.
No.
Testifies, and for the final time, denies all of Garrison's charges. At the end of the third day, Judge Christenberry issues a restraining order, temporarily preventing Garrison from taking further legal action against Clay Shaw.
Leave the gays alone.
4 years after his first arrest, Shaw is almost a free man. 4 months later, in his final ruling, Judge Christenberry orders a permanent injunction against Garrison and publishes a scathing indictment of him and his tactics. Christenberry accuses Garrison of using drugs and hypnosis to concoct Russo's testimony and abusing the power of his office. The Christenberry opinion vindicates Clay Shaw. On November 20th, 1972, the United States Supreme Court denies Garrison's appeal. Shaw is free at last. One of his first moves is to file a lawsuit against Garrison and others. But he has little time left to pursue it. 2 years later, Clay Shaw dies of lung cancer. While he found solace in religion,
61.
Shaw died financially ruined.
Holy shit! Those last pictures only look like it was 81.
Yeah, he seemed very, very old, but yeah.
Suspiciously so.
And a broken man.
It literally destroyed the man. I mean, after that trial, he was never the same. He deteriorated rapidly.
I think one has to ask the question, is Jim Garrison unique? And I don't think he is. I can recall McCarthy doing much the same to innocent people.
Whether there was a conspiracy or not, I'm not able to say, but I can say if there were a conspiracy, Jim Garrison knew nothing of it.
So I really liked that statement. He's basically leaving the door open. He's like, sure, maybe there was a conspiracy, but this wasn't it.
Not this fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
This was a load of bollocks.
Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? That's fair. And that's kind of where I stand. I'm like, look, the world is open to try to convince me that there was one, but this wasn't it.
What then drove Jim Garrison to pursue?
So this is the last little segment of this video where we're going to hear a couple of things that haven't been said before as to where Jim Garrison's motivation came from. Here we go. Spoiler alert.
His penis?
Gay.
Sue Clay Shaw so relentlessly, so heartlessly.
Once he mouthed off about this conspiracy, and once he arrested this man and charged him with a conspiracy, To back down after that would have been to admit that he was foolish. And Garrison wasn't about to do that.
Jim Garrison was a man who wanted to get what he wanted to get. And if anybody got in his way, he could just run them over.
I think he had his eyes set on Washington, D.C.
And your...
So that, I think, is the first step where we talk about it, where this guy had aspirations of being a politician, going to D.C., and he had already made a fool out of himself, and he couldn't let it go. And he's like, well, I can't stop this now because I will look like an asshole.
How do you say your aspirations are to be a senator in Washington, D.C., then you just might sell your soul.
Now.
And as far as I'm concerned...
Yeah, he gambled and lost. He definitely gambled and lost, but that was what motivated him, and it just didn't pan out for him. Oh, also, interesting fact, do you know who replaced Jim Garrison when he lost his re-election? Harry Connick Sr., Harry Connick Jr.'s father.
That's what Jim Garrison did.
Now that's gay.
I think that my value is largely symbolic, that I was used as a pawn. I think that Garrison feels that the end justifies the means. And he felt that if he could bring to the American people what he considered the truth about the death of their president, any means whatsoever was to be used. And it didn't matter much who got hurt in the process.
In 1969, Jim Garrison is re-elected district attorney.
What?
In 19...
How amazing is that?
How you guys are retards.
Amazing. I mean, all I have to assume is that maybe this information was not publicly available yet.
Yeah, for sure.
Or voter fraud.
What?
Oh,
what?
yeah. They got all the gays to
he
vote.
was elected.
They got all the gays to vote. That's how he did it.
73, he is tried and acquitted of federal bribery charges. 3 months later, he loses his bid for a 4th term as district attorney. He runs unsuccessfully for the state Supreme Court, but in 1978 is elected to a seat on the Louisiana 4th Circuit Court of Appeal. Garrison also has become a writer, and in 1988, he publishes his rendition of his JFK probe, On the Trail of the Assassins, My Investigation and
On the Trail of the Gays.
Prosecution of the Murder of President Kennedy. The most far-fetched claim in Garrison's memoir is also the most enduring. The charge that Clay Shaw was a high-level CIA employee in Rome, working to restore fascism to Italy through a...
That's something we haven't focused on in all this, talking about him being just gay and and all these accusations being false. But the movie JFK really tries to hammer this home, that he was somehow a CIA agent, and that everyone was working for the CIA, like all of the people.
That Shaw was a CIA agent, right?
No, that's exactly what it is. He's the JFK. The movie directly says that Shaw was a CIA agent. But but it never got.
JT, you remember that from your favorite movie?
Yeah,
right?
the guy who Donald Sutherland. I never understood British humor, but I was on a set. But the guy who Donald Sutherland played, CIA Mr. X dude. He's the one that made. So now he's coming into play.
We're about to talk about that.
Yeah.
So it's funny. I can't tell, though. My point of bringing this up, though, is in this documentary where we've talked about all the facts of the trial, CIA never once got brought up, ever once. But in the movie JFK, it's a very prevalent theme that it's spoken throughout. So
yeah, that's the only part I remember of this.
Yeah, but what's funny though is
and
that
the gay sex.
I can't tell if what they're saying is that Garrison prosecuted Clay Shaw this whole time without mentioning it. That's what I'm saying. But he wrote a book and said, "Oh, did I forget to mention he was a CIA agent?" That's what it sounds like they are saying, which would, in my opinion, completely be a crazy, self-sabotage. But whatever. Here we go.
Mentioning the CIA in the original trial, to him, it would have been like, okay, that's a little too far.
It may be. Maybe, I don't know. But it is funny to me that what this documentary is saying is that he was like, yeah, he's a gay, thrill kill, mastermind, conspiracy. They don't like it. And then 7 years later, oh shit, did I forget to say he was a CIA agent? But whatever. But here's where it gets a little weird. And I have to admit, despite my skepticism and despite my shitting on all of this theory, this is a little weird. And I don't have an explanation for it.
Organization, Centro Mondiale Commerciale, World Trade Center, and its parent company, Permindex. These companies, Garrison claims, were fronts for the CIA. Garrison admits that this story, which first appeared 3 days after Shaw's arrest...
What?
So you saying the World Trade Center was a CIA
No.
asset?
No, it was a specific company just called that. Yeah. No. And it was in Italy. Okay?
They had Twin Towers there as well.
But believe me, I know it's weird. Let me back this up just a tiny little bit.
Man, you fucking with me, man.
No. hold on.
They had Twin Towers there as well.
Everyone stop talking. Just stop talking.
Down.
Let's listen. Listen to what he says.
Shaw was a high-level CIA employee in Rome, working to restore fascism to Italy through a trade organization, Centro Mondiale Commerciale, World Trade Center, and its parent company, Permindex. These companies, Garrison claims, were fronts for the CIA. Garrison admits that this story, which first appeared 3 days after Shaw's arrest, originated in a series of articles in the Italian newspaper Paese Sera.
Okay. So, wait, okay. You know what? Actually, this doesn't, now that I'm hearing it and analyzing it a little bit better, I'm back to being skeptical. This is bullshit. So they appeared after Shaw's arrest. I think I missed that part. So these articles are now trying to shit on the U.S. and say, oh, here's what's going on. But okay, so listen. Yes, the World Trade Center in New York was a CIA front.
I was going to say, if it was true, it could have really tied a lot of these together.
JT is breaking it down. He's working it out. I think he's got it all figured out. Good work, pal.
But Paese Sera was a publication that the U.S. State Department considered crypto-communist, in other words, of dubious reliability. Over the years, this story has been accepted by many at face value, though the source was unreliable. According to writer Max Holland, in the 60s, when Paese Sera published the story, Paese Sera was an outlet for Soviet KGB disinformation. Among Holland's evidence for this is a document published in 1999 from the Mitrokhin archive, notes smuggled out of Russia by a former KGB archivist.
The KGB, during the existence of the Soviet Union, specialized in an active measure they called disinformation, which is wrapping a lie with a lot of truth around it.
The lie at the center of the Paese Sera story was the charge that Centro Mondiale Commerciale and
the World Trade Center
Permindex were CIA fronts.
After Paese Sera's disinformation was republished in Pravda, the CIA went through its files looking for any connection whatsoever to either the CMC, Centro Mondiale Commerciale, or Permindex. There were no traces, meaning that the CIA had no contact with either of these business organizations. They had never exploited them, they had never targeted them, they never used them for any purpose whatsoever.
Among the facts woven around the story was Clay Shaw's legitimate association with Centro Mondiale Commerciale. In 1958, he was invited to join the board of directors, and he did.
He thought it would be a good idea to take a junket once a year to Rome. But as it turned out, he never had the time. He never went to a board.
Okay, so are we all understanding what's going on here? So someone did research into Clay Shaw after he was arrested, and in Rome, Italy, a news organization that was putting out fake news that promoted communism did some research and said he worked for two companies in Rome those two companies were fronts for the CIA after the fact that he had been arrested. So it's someone trying to spread out these rumors, not before he was arrested, after he'd been arrested. So it was just lies being published in order to hopefully undermine people's belief in capitalism. I think that's the point they're trying to make. I'll be honest, I'm a little lost on it too, but that's what it is. But then someone does some bigger digging and says, well, yeah, he worked for those companies, but he never actually even traveled there to interact with these people. So
basically the Russians, the commies were just lying.
Pretty much.
What?
Yeah.
They were lying as well?
Yeah.
Jesus,
Yeah.
Who can we believe nowadays?
The gays.
Board meeting. He never met the other members of the
I
board.
wouldn't.
And by the time he had the time to go to such board meetings, the Centro Mundial Comerciale had failed.
Look at that, it's
But from
mustache.
Garrison's memoir and the material he left behind, we know he embraced the Paese Serra story as gospel.
Why is that guy smiling like that back there?
They were gay.
Hey, handsome.
Look at the guy in the background. Look at that. That ain't creepy. He's like, I'll see you at the orgy, right? Yeah, Ozzy got the pen and pad.
This looks like a Hitchcock movie. But yeah, so here's the thing. So this comes out again after the fact, trying to disseminate some false information. Garrison reads it and says, I'll bet this is true. And
he didn't really, Garrison couldn't believe that though, right?
Listen to these further facts.
After these stories appeared, he felt that when he had arrested Clay Shaw, that he had arrested a high-ranking, important operative of the CIA.
This guy's
Yet
insane.
Garrison was silent about his knowledge of the Paese Serra story
2 hours
for
in,
21
JT gets it.
Oh, why didn't you? Yeah. This whole time I thought the guy just hated gays. Now I realize, no, he's just insane.
Wait a minute. This guy was played by Kevin Costner.
Great actor.
He has to be on the up and up. So here's the thing, though. He was crazy, but he wasn't stupid enough to tell anyone about this article.
He was their DA, and this guy's a retard.
Yes.
years, until he wrote his memoir. In it, Garrison claims he first learned about the Paese Serra articles after Shaw's trial was over, 2 years after the articles were published. If true, this would explain why Garrison didn't use the information against Shaw at his trial. But the evidence doesn't support that explanation.
In point of fact, Garrison's own papers and the papers of people who were around him, most importantly Richard Billings, a life editor who kept a diary during the early stages of the investigation, prove that Jim Garrison heard about the Italian newspaper articles within about 12 days after their publication, and within about 2 weeks after the publication actually had copies in his possession.
Why?
So he hears about these articles and ultimately, through confirmation bias, is trying to make all of the pieces connect in order to prove that that story was true. That was what motivated all of this.
He did all this believing all this bullshit he's hearing is true.
I don't know. He was fucking crazy, and he didn't like gay
Why then didn't Garrison use the information at Shaw's trial?
I mean, the gay thing is like secondary. The guy was just primarily crazy.
Gay was the most important thing.
It might have been secondary, but it was the basis of how he got America behind him, which is scary. You know, he was getting all of this support because the narrative of crazy gay guys killing presidents was apparently something people wanted to get behind. You heard me. Get behind.
It was inadmissible hearsay, and no court would have allowed it.
He couldn't say to the jurors that I have a newspaper clipping from an Italian paper that says Clay Shaw is a high-ranking CIA operative, and here's another clipping from Pravda that says the same thing. He would have been laughed out of court.
But during the 2-year period prior to the trial and afterwards, and later in his memoir, Garrison publicly proclaims that the president's assassination was the work of the CIA. So the story which fueled the now widely held belief that elements within the Central Intelligence Agency killed President Kennedy may have originated with the KGB, where the #1 target for disinformation was the CIA. Clay Shaw did have a connection to that agency, like some 150,000 other Americans during those Cold War years. Shaw provided routine information to the Domestic Contact Service.
He voluntarily shared information.
So back then, if you ever saw anything that looked suspicious, there was a number to call, for lack of a better
999?
phrase.
911. Damn it.
Where you
got
would
it wrong.
call and say, hey, guys, this looks like suspicious to me. And apparently, Clay Shaw was such a good American, he frequently called and would say, hey, I saw this. I think you need to look into it.
Snitches get stitches.
But anti-American stuff, like basically like, hey, I saw a bunch of Russian guys, you know, or something like that. It was infiltration of communism.
I saw a bunch of patsies.
Yeah.
Those guys like to gossip, that's for sure.
But so the point of this is saying he was a patriotic veteran who just got targeted and you know in an unreasonable way. And I get it, everyone hates the gays, but he didn't deserve
gay people. JT's great.
I think the fact that he's gay makes him innocent.
All right, buddy.
But no, Garrison did not like the gays. So
With the CIA.
finishing up here.
And this information had nothing to do with covert operations. It was the kind of information you could glean from the Wall Street Journal.
Shaw did what thousands of ordinary tourists, business executives, academics, journalists did. They simply gave the CIA assessments of conditions in other countries, nothing covert, nothing secret.
Yet Shaw is depicted as a CIA operative in Garrison's memoir. Oliver Stone purchases the movie rights to Garrison's book and uses it as the basis for the storyline of his film JFK. None of Stone's portrayals inspire more reaction than those of Jim Garrison and Clay Shaw.
3 minutes.
But then many of the characters in the film have little in common with their real-life counterparts.
2 minutes.
I knew most of the characters.
So then,
We've only had 1 minute.
I was gonna say no. Hold on a minute. So even though Oliver Stone knew that Garrison was full of shit, and he's like, I'm going to change all this.
That's the interesting thing. Oliver Stone kind of strikes me as a believer. I think he fully committed to Jim Garrison's.
I know. Oliver Stone's like he's really big into the JFK conspiracy, and I think he believes more in a CIA connection than this Garrison's attack on Ferry and all that.
Hold on, O.J. Mumbling Nick. I'm not talking about Americans. I'm talking about foreigners. He was accusing.
Do the eye roll.
He was accusing foreigners of possibly infiltrating and bringing communism to America. Eye roll takes too much.
Yeah, you idiot.
Involved in the film because I covered all of this for years. None of the characters had any resemblance to the real people.
Jack Martin, a conniving troublemaker, is unrecognizable in the sympathetic alcoholic played by Jack Lemmon. John Candy resembles Dean Andrews physically, but his sinister portrayal is nothing like the real man, who was fun-loving and ultimately self-sacrificing. The real David Ferry was less garish, less bizarre than Joe Pesci's version, and he wasn't killed by intruders in the night. That scene is fiction. Garrison's own lead prosecutor said of it, that just didn't happen. Perry Russo is missing from the movie, reduced to a fictitious composite.
1 second, Luigi,
the meeting
sorry.
between Man X.
Yo.
Did they think this movie's a documentary then?
That's the thing. I cut a part out where they actually.
You know, I used to think that.
They interview two history
Your favorite
teachers.
documentary turned movie.
They interview two history teachers who say that in class people believe all of this to be true for a younger generation, and that these history teachers say we have to correct them and tell them no, this is fiction. So
movie.
that's the point.
Movie.
and Jim Garrison, which ties the New Orleans plot to Washington, D.C., did not occur in real life. Another scene that never occurred is the one in
I
which
just
Garrison
found out there's no
confronts Shaw.
Santa Claus.
What?
It's like as if I just found out there's no Santa Claus. Like,
Well,
this whole movie was full of shit.
The good thing is there's still gay sex.
With an Italian newspaper article and recites
I
the
know, they left that
accusations
in.
first published in Paese Sera 24 years earlier.
He's like, we can't change that. That's a stay.
So, Jim Garrison died in 1992.
It's bad.
The Clay Shaw that most Americans remember is the villainous one played by Tommy Lee Jones in the movie JFK. However, in New Orleans, just off Bourbon Street, there's a plaque dedicated to Clay Shaw, mentioning his contributions to the city. And in Shaw's diary, there is this sympathetic reference to Jim Garrison. "I should hate him," Shaw wrote, "but I can only feel that this poor SOB needs help far worse than I do."
There you have it, folks.
Perfect.
That is the end of this JFK Assassination Conspiracy Theory. Our new show is going to be focused on JFK Assassination Conspiracy Theories.
And gays.
And gays.
Well, I think we pretty much proved that theory is full of shit. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
JT is our expert witness on that.
Another theory down, as they say.
Exactly.
Yes. So, tell you what, guys, let's wrap it up here.
Good.
Actually, I'm going to see. Ekul, what would you like to plug, sir?
Yep. So go follow deng.lizard on YouTube. He's got some cool Stuttering John stuff to watch. If you're about tomorrow and you hate OJ, you can watch me at 8:15 a.m. Eastern with the Aussie guy doing Watch Your Handle Ricky Gervais show, and 2 o'clock Eastern with that roach off a man doing Pint Dabble Pint. That's it. So.
Awesome. JT, would you like to plug anything?
No, I don't have anything.
Promo code COME.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, use promo hack.
Dabbleverse.tv.
Yeah, you know all that.
There you go.
Maybe.
Yeah, they need the
fuck
10
them.
people. Come on.
They got enough. They don't need it anymore.
They're fine.
They got
They're
enough.
fine. Yeah.
All right, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for the gifted memberships and the super chats. Thank you. Let's see here. Hamhead, Dang Lizard, Deadpool. Thank you very, very much. I think that was everyone. If I missed you, I apologize. I appreciate you being here. And please check me out tomorrow on Hackride Studios channel doing Unboxing Eric, 10 p.m. Eastern. And also check out this little show that I do with Pineapple called Between Two Hacks.
Oh yeah, I forgot about it.
Oh yeah.
Before this show every week.
All right, folks. Thanks so much, everyone. Good night.
What's your next show?
That's right, it sucks.